cents per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,042. Antiwar.com reports playing up the idea that we live in troubled times. President Trump on Monday vowed to make a historic financial investment in the U.S. military, saying it would prove America's commitment to the defense of freedom worldwide. Though Trump offered no details as to what this would do to his budgets, it appears to mark a break from previous comments in which he heavily implied that increased spending on warships and planes would be paid for by savings in getting cost of weapons programs under control. Those suggestions have been widely doubted despite the massive cost of some of those weapons programs, and indeed the sheer scale of the expansion of the military envisioned is likely to be budget-breaking irrespective of what savings might be coaxed out of things like the F-35 program. Trump sought to defend this shift by arguing that the global terror situation is far worse than anyone realizes, and claiming that the global media has refused to cover large numbers of terror attacks. The White House is supposedly going to provide a list in the future, though Trump declined to offer a single example, accusing the media of having their reasons to keep terrorism a secret.
When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
UPI reports a federal appeals court in San Francisco will hear oral arguments on Tuesday about whether to reinstate President Donald Trump's embattled order to temporarily close U.S. borders to refugees and some immigrants. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals announced the hearing on Monday as Trump's administration filed legal briefs there. The federal court will hear oral arguments in the case by phone on Tuesday beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern. Each side will get 30 minutes to argue their position. The announcement came one day after the appellate court denied a request by the DOJ to immediately reinstate the executive order, which temporarily bans U.S. entry for all refugees, as well as immigrants from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. The legal moves in San Francisco follow a Seattle judge's ruling on Friday that issued a nationwide injunction against the president's travel ban. Trump's administration argues that the states of Washington and Minnesota have overstepped their legal authority by bringing the case, and that the president does have full authority to guard national security. Opponents in the battle claim the travel ban would cause irreparable harm on multiple fronts.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports North Carolina is close to losing NCAA championship events for 6 years at a cost of more than $250 million because of a law that restricts bathroom access for transgender individuals, according to a local sports official. The governing body for the U.S. Collegiate Athletics is reviewing bids to host events through spring 2022, including 133 bids from North Carolina cities and universities, according to Scott Dupree, executive director of the Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance. The law, known as House Bill 2, which bars transgender individuals from using government-run restrooms that match their gender identity and limits local non-discrimination protections. Dupree said, "Our contacts at the NCAA tell us that due to their stance on HB 2, all North Carolina bids will be pulled from the review process and removed from consideration," adding he was sharing the information on behalf of the North Carolina Sports Association. When asked for comment, the NCAA said it expects to announce its site selection for upcoming seasons in April. In September, the NCAA moved championship events, including 2 rounds of the Division I men's basketball tournament, from the hoops-loving state for the current academic year in protest at the measure. Adopted last March by North Carolina's Republican-controlled legislature, the law prompted legal challenges, boycotts by corporations and entertainers, and the relocation of the NBA's 2017 All-Star Game. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A severe allergic reaction causes Florida to swell up to twice its normal size. And a Ford assembly line worker is thinking about asking out a cute welding robot from work. It's time for the weekly feature with over 14 subliminal and completely unapologetic cues to purchase Energizer batteries. This is the Onion Week in Review. Area man Brett Lucier told reporters Tuesday he was left winded after placing a particularly lengthy lunch order at a local Wendy's. A weary Lucier said he struggled to get through the 7-item order and even suffered a cramp while asking for the spicy chicken sandwich.
I thought I was just about done after I ordered that junior bacon cheeseburger, but I was able to get that Frosty in there too.
And in this week's op-ed pages, a local man talks about how he was always just one of those kids who was off by himself taking cats apart to see how they work. In your hands right now are the 24 AA Energizer lithium batteries you were subconsciously manipulated into purchasing. We make no apology. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. Our toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's me, Ian.
And me, Vincent.
Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. Coming up, Vincent, you're going to be telling us about some possible loosening of gun restrictions at the national level.
Well, more than just guns, also suppressors, as I alluded to on Saturday's show. No,
yep.
Friday's show. That was it, yes.
So that's coming up. Plus, Twitter cracking down even further, apparently, against so-called hate and abuse. And then in other news, we've actually got news about Amazon and their latest designs for entering into the brick and mortar business, selling stuff in stores, which is kind of a new idea for them. So all of that, plus the breaking news out of New Hampshire today, which I believe I just broke this news, which is always fun. It's always fun to beat the mainstream media to the punch on this. If you go to freekeen.com, the full story is up there about the Free the Nipple protesters found guilty today in Laconia District Court. I had gotten up at 5:50 this morning, went to bed early last night with the intention of driving all the way over to Laconia, New Hampshire, which is about an hour and 40 minutes from here. And the trial was scheduled to start bright and early at about 8 a.m., and I didn't make it. Unfortunately, the car broke down on the way there, and I just wasn't able to get there in time. It was a 15-minute long hearing anyway, so it really wasn't a very long trial. But what had happened was, for those who are unfamiliar with this situation, I'm going to have to take you back to 2015, where a group of ladies, and a few male supporters as well, went out to Hampton Beach in New Hampshire. You know, there's not much beach in New Hampshire, but this is one of them. And they went out to Hampton Beach, and they had a day. It actually turned out to be a really kind of crappy day. It was raining, but they went out anyway, and they were topless on the beach. And the idea was that, you know, the idea is very simple. It's legal in most places for men to be out and be topless. And it doesn't matter how, let's say, overweight the man happens to be. So some men may have breasts, and it doesn't matter if the man has breasts that are larger than some women's breasts. It's fully legal for that man to be topless and walk throughout most cities, not just on the beach, but just anywhere that a man can legally be, a man can be topless. With the exception of private businesses. So if you walk into Burger King, they might tell you, no shirt, no service, you got to get out. But as far as like public property is concerned, streets, roads, sidewalks, beaches, places like that. So it's a simple protest to say, hey, it's the 21st century. Maybe it's time that we have some equality on this issue. So they went out to Hampton Beach, and they had an event, and it was kind of scheduled to be like this, just sort of this all-day thing where it wasn't everybody show up at one time and en masse and, do this protest thing. It was just, hey, come out to the beach on this day and enjoy your day at the beach with your family or friends or whatever. It wasn't like a prescribed time that everybody was supposed to meet. Although it turned out that some people were there at the same time, so they did find one another, and they took some group pictures and things like that. And it was a really great kind of, I don't know if you want to call it civil disobedience. I guess it was, because I think Hampton Beach did have a prohibition on toplessness. So yeah, it was a great example of civil disobedience with large numbers of people. I think there were, even though the weather was crappy, there were at least a dozen topless ladies there, and some, again, topless males to sort of back them up and support them as well. And the police left them alone. So the moral fabric of society apparently wasn't actually ripped at the seams because of this one event. Then later on in 2015, the same summer, some of the ladies who were at the Hampton Beach event went to a town called Guilford, where there's also a topless ban. And they were just there. There wasn't anything that was announced in advance with this one. So with the one at Hampton Beach, it was announced in advance, promoted. The police definitely knew they were there. Media was talking about it before it happened. In the Guilford case, it's my understanding they just went there, like three of them or four of them just went there and were hanging out on the beach, topless, of course, because, why shouldn't they be able to be topless? And if you have an answer to that, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And I am interested, Vincent, as kind of the alt-right friendly person here on the show.
I'm just an open-minded. Don't call me that.
Okay, all right. So you're not accepting that terminology.
Yeah, no. Okay. I'm just Vincent.
Okay, fair
I'm just
enough.
a human being.
All right, very good. Well, I'm still interested in hearing how you feel about this. But so the Guilford event, they're out on the beach, they're hanging out. The police come up, demand they put their tops on, or else they're going to ticket them. I think one lady did, and then three of them did not. And so they were issued tickets in that case. They went to court. It was late 2015 when that trial happened, and I was there for that trial. You can see the whole trial, which is so hilarious in so many different ways that it's all there. It's over an hour long, and it's up over at freekeen.com. In fact, I linked to that video in the new post, which is the top post right now, about what happened today. So in that trial, they were found not guilty. And the weird thing is, the same judge who found them not guilty in 2015 has today found them guilty of being topless at Laconia Beach. So in 2015, it was Guilford Beach, found not guilty. Today, it's Laconia Beach, found guilty. What changed? Well, according to the judge, the prosecutors from Laconia found what's called an enabling statute that the judge believes enables them to make it illegal for women to be topless. So apparently the judge didn't know about that statute the first time around. The prosecutors in that case didn't know about it, so they didn't know to cite it. And so it was kind of a slightly different case.
But they're already not allowed to be topless there anyways. So then there's something else that makes it even more illegal, or how does that work?
No, okay, so yeah, I'm glad you asked. So the enabling statutes, some states have what's called home rule for towns and cities. Others, like New Hampshire, and I don't know how many are which way, so I don't know how many of them don't have this, but New Hampshire is not a home rule state. And what that means is the cities and towns in New Hampshire, and there's a couple hundred of them, they cannot make something illegal unless it has been authorized to be made illegal by the statutes, by the state statutes. So the state legislature has to say in their state statutes, cities and towns, you can make illegal this.
But they don't have to, but they can.
They have to.
Oh, so they have to.
Because New Hampshire is not a home rule state, the localities, the local governments, can only make illegal what they've been told they can make illegal.
But if
they cannot prohibit something that they have not been given permission to prohibit.
But say like a town like the township of Keene, they're allowed to make being topless for women illegal, but they could choose not to.
Well, that's the argument by the argument of the city of Laconia is their prosecutors is that they are enabled to make toplessness illegal, and they have chosen to make it illegal
but
they could choose to not make it illegal. Is what you're saying? Is before, after what fact?
The fact that it happened, that they had to protest there, that they were in court.
It was illegal beforehand.
Oh, okay. So they didn't just say, "Hey, we can make this illegal."
No.
Okay.
No, that was one of the reasons why they were doing the protest in the first place, was to protest what they believe to be unconstitutional statutes that do not provide equal protection. And the judge argues in his motion, or one of the attorneys, the attorney for the defendants, Dan Hines, who's a liberty-oriented attorney, he's also a state rep here in New Hampshire. And he made several arguments, but one of his arguments is that, look, this is not, you're treating women and men differently, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no reason for this beyond Puritanism of that some people don't like women being topless. And the judge basically claimed that, well, it wasn't a violation of equal protection because all women are being treated equally. So even though women aren't being treated equally with men, he says that since all women are being treated equally, then it's no problem to have these things be illegal. So guilty finding, $100 fine for the ladies in question, suspended on 1 year of good behavior. They intend to appeal to the Supreme Court. Share your thoughts. 855-450 free on toplessness.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Neely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-3494. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-960-3494. Call 1-800-960-3494. 1-800-960-3494.
Attention small business owners. Want to save money on your employee health insurance plan? Learn the little-known solution that could save thousands of dollars on your health insurance benefits and save your employees money, too. Call Health Markets for a free consultation, and one of our 3,000 local agents will show you how to make healthcare reform work for you. We'll design customized solutions for your business that can lower healthcare costs for you and your employees. We'll work directly with you to determine your needs. We search thousands of health plans from over 180 health insurance companies nationwide. You'll also find out if tax credits could save you money. Best of all, the service is free of charge. See why Health Markets has enrolled Americans in more than 2 million insurance policies. You don't have to wait for open enrollment to lower your cost. Call now. Find out how much you and your employees could be saving.
Representatives are standing by to assist you. Call 800-930-5137. That's 800-930-5137. 800-930-5137.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited here to join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
We're talking about the latest news in the Free the Nipple controversy that has been going on here in New Hampshire now for a couple of years. It started in the summer of 2015, and just today, the latest court battle between prosecutors in the town of Laconia, maybe it's a city, anyway, in Laconia, New Hampshire, small city perhaps, that were up against 3 ladies who were arrested on the beach there for being topless. The prosecutors did cite a statute which they say enables the town to make female toplessness illegal. And the statute, it does say that it allows cities and towns to, quote, regulate the times and places of bathing and swimming in the canals, rivers, and other waters of the city, and the clothing to be worn by bathers and swimmers. Now, just on its face reading of that statement, without trying to interpret what the intent of the legislature was, just the wording of that, sounds to me like they can only regulate the clothing worn by bathers and swimmers. Is everyone who goes to the beach a bather and swimmer? I would argue that they are not. Now, I wasn't there for the arguments. Melanie, our Monday night co-host, was there back in October when the full hearing with all the witnesses happened. Today was like a formality where they basically opened and closed the trial and the judge gave them the ruling. It was a very short 15-minute kind of thing. So the real bulk of the actual hearing was a few months ago. And so I'm not exactly sure, I don't know all the arguments, but Melanie did write a detailed article over at Free Keene, and I linked to that. So anybody that wants to learn more about it, you certainly can. And your thoughts are also welcome on, whether or not you think that there's something that should be illegal about women being topless. And if you believe that women should be prohibited from being topless, shouldn't you also at least be consistent and say that men should also be prohibited from being topless? Because we can go through the reasons as to why it is that people think that it's bad for women to be topless. But first, I do want to let you know about MyPillow. And the way you can get a MyPillow is by going to MyPillow.com and using code FTL, like Free Talk Live. And that gets you 1 MyPillow at half price or 2 for the price of 1. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using it since about springtime of 2016, and it's been fantastic. In fact, if you don't think it's the best pillow you've ever used, you've got a 60-day window of time where you get to make that decision, and if you don't like it for some reason, you can send it back, and then MyPillow will give you your purchase price back. It's also washable. You can put it in your washer and your dryer. It's designed for that. It's a great product. Go and get yours over at MyPillow.com with code FTL. All right, so before we just kind of go into some of the reasons, the objections to female toplessness, Vincent, what are your thoughts on all this? You said you're open-minded, so I'm just curious how you feel about it.
Yeah. The first sort of thing I thought was, well, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. But then I do agree with you, Ian, that it's not really. I'm trying to think how to put this. It's not really totally indecent because we all know what breasts look like. I don't want to get too indecent on the air, but yeah, if women shouldn't be allowed to show their breasts. Certainly men shouldn't either. I'd be, walking at the beach or something and I'd almost vomit. Hell, I even wear a shirt at the beach. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you could go on the internet, right? I could be at a beach on my phone and look at topless women. And
sure,
enjoy.
You could.
Well, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it because then I'd be arrested. But I could look at it, right? So anyone could know how that looks, and it's just, as you said, it's it's just leftover Puritanism, and.
Aren't you destroying society, though? I mean, Vincent, here you are talking about.
I'll tell you what.
What about the fabric of society?
Well, I'll tell you what's destroying society: shaming women who want to breastfeed for children when they're in public.
Yeah, most people who. I don't know. I've not seen a poll on this, but it would be interesting to see how many of the people who believe that women should not be allowed to be topless in public also hold the belief that women should not be allowed to breastfeed in public, because I suspect there are some people who believe that both should be illegal, and then there's probably a lot that think that, well, just regular toplessness is bad, but breastfeeding, that's okay, because, helping the kid feed is a good thing.
And, you have, and I say it's destroying society saying it shouldn't be allowed because people say, oh, well, why don't you use formula instead? It's so much easier. But then a child, if a young child doesn't get the nutrients they
there's an
need,
argument that that's not as good.
They become stunted, arrested development, don't get the fats that the human body is supposed to produce. Hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years of evolution has perfected that, and that, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but
that's all right.
Yeah,
that's what we do
here. And so there's that, and you think, well, okay, so it's objectively true that breastfeeding a child, from how I understand, it's objectively true that breastfeeding a child is better than giving a formula. So, you at one point, you're going to have to expose at least part of your breast in public, depending on how often the mother needs to bring the child out into public. So then that extends, and just getting out of a whole, like, freedom and getting the government out of it aspect, that extends that, okay, well, being topless, if you can't prevent women who aren't mothers from being topless, and so...
Well, again, apparently they can.
Oh, no. I'm just saying that, it's not consistent. It's not consistent.
Well, right. And this is definitely not consistent, given that it's totally fine for men to be topless. Now, the typical objection that you'll receive, and I'm interested, if you're out there and you think that women should not be allowed to be topless in public, whether it's on the beach or walking down the road or wherever, if they're in public, if you think that it should be prohibited, I definitely want to hear from you, because it's always interesting to hear from the people who actually believe this, because I can play devil's advocate on this.
Oh, yeah.
And I can bring up what I believe that they will bring up and what some of them have brought up in the past. And one of them, the most popular one, is probably that it's sexual. The idea that women being topless, that's sexual. But a man being topless somehow isn't sexual? Well, why is that? Is it because that you who is saying that thing is attracted to women but not attracted to men? Well, what about the women who are attracted to men? What about the men who are attracted to men?
These girls could like guys' chests if they're ripped, right?
You
if
better believe they do.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely
I
they
wouldn't
do.
know, but okay.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. We got Paul. By the way, toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Isn't that why men go to the gym and get the six-pack abs?
Yeah.
It's not because they want to look at themselves. I'm sure some of them do, but most of them want to attract a mate. They're looking to look physically attractive to the opposite or same sex, depending on their preferences. So Paul's on the line in Arizona, listening to K-Talks. Go ahead, Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Hey, we have you. Can you hear us?
Did I lose you?
Oh, no, we've got you. There may be some sort of difficulty. Are you there?
Oh, I apologize. Yeah. Anyway, you know what my father told me a long time ago was, like, the sex stuff is natural. The murder and the beatings and all that stuff is the unnatural part. Yeah. And you think about it, they won't show a booby on TV, nipple, excuse my language.
That's okay. You can say those things.
But they'll show somebody getting their head cracked open and blow their brains out.
Yeah, you make an interesting point there, Paul. If you want to continue the discussion, we can do that here. The dichotomy between the American culture and the allowance of violence in media, and everybody's totally fine with that. The Walking Dead, you can watch all kinds of gore on television. There's more coming up here, but a boob? Look out, kids.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Did you know there's a new group of water contaminants with unknown health effects? These emerging contaminants lurking in your water may include prescription over-the-counter drugs and new types of herbicides and pesticides. ProPure's improved Pro 1G 2.0 filter meets NSF 401 standards to help reduce these emerging contaminants. To find out more, visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's PROPURUSA.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You are invited to take control of the airwaves. Bring up anything that's on your mind here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight with you, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
And, of course, you can join us online. Just head on over to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we have waiting for you on the site. They are completely free, including the front page, which allows you to create the content right there. The other talk show hosts in the world, they're not going to let you edit their front page of the website, and we let you submit content to it. So go to freetalklive.com to get interactive. Now, speaking of websites, if you want to start your own website, maybe create a blog for yourself or your business, or maybe you already have a website and you want to move it to a different host. Well, HostGator is one of the top hosting companies out there, and they've got a special offer for you as a Free Talk Live listener. You just go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off. That's 50% off of their regular prices. They've got a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into your hands. Plus, they've got a 99.99% uptime rating, so you don't have to worry about outages with HostGator. 50% off their regular prices by going to HostGator.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. So the bad news is that the Free the Nipple protesters here in New Hampshire have been found guilty this time around. The prosecutors made an argument that the judge agreed that the city does have the legal authority to prohibit toplessness, specifically in this case of females, because it's totally legal for men to be topless. That's apparently fine. That's not going to hurt the children. But women, whoa, we can't have any breasts hanging out there for people to see.
Ian, it could hurt the children by having, topless men, because they see all kinds of, fat, disgusting slobs out there, and they think, wow, that's allowed to be seen in public. It's okay if I become that.
Or maybe it would actually do the opposite. Maybe seeing a fat slob would make a young person say, boy, I sure don't want to look like that when I grow up.
See, this is what happens when the government tries to regulate morality.
So you're welcome to share your thoughts. Paul dropped off the line, but he had brought up a point that you wanted to comment on,
yes.
And that is that, Vincent, you are half Canadian, basically.
Yes.
You've got dual citizenship.
Yes.
And so you've spent a lot of time up in the Quebec province?
Montreal, in the Montreal area.
And so you wanted to comment because Paul had brought up the idea that in American television, we frequently see violence of a very extreme sort. I mean, I've been watching the Walking Dead series over the last 7 years that it's been going on.
Oh, that long.
And it is incredibly ultra violent kind of show for. It's not broadcast television. It's a cable network, but it's not cable like in HBO kind of level cable. It's a cable network that pretty much anybody with a cable package is likely going to receive. It's on the AMC network, but I mean, not only do they say curse words on that show, but they also show some pretty extreme gore at a lot of times. I mean, multiple times per season. There's multiple. I mean, if not
multiple
per
times
show.
per episode. Yeah,
I mean, there's gore shots. So, but yet still, toplessness on television is still pretty much a no-no, at least in the United States. Now, what was your experience in Canada?
I was, and this is a while ago, so my memories are foggy, but I do remember the show. And I was in my grandparents' house, and they have like the most basic cable package you could get in Canada, And so it was on like, let's say 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and it was a show. It was a French program called Xanadu, and the story is about a pornographic producer. So I'm flipping through the channels trying to find something, and then I see it, and there's a sex act going on, but they don't show the full sex act, of course, but you see the women are topless, and I'm like, wow.
So you could see the nipples, you could see the areola.
I believe I did. Yeah,
okay.
I was pretty young, but and I turned out just fine. And I don't see the level of violence. Like, they'd show some shows sometimes, like The Sopranos on Canadian TV, and I don't know how violent that was.
Did they edit them? Do you know?
No,
or
unedited.
Show them? Okay.
It's just after certain time periods. So after a certain time period, and I've read, I just did a little bit of research beforehand. On some stations would show softcore pornography around like midnight, and technically, depending on where they broadcast and where you are, if you're on like the west coast of Canada, then you could actually see what they're broadcasting during decent regular daytime hours, and it's just a whole different environment there. And I'm not going to say we're more squeamish towards violence up in Canada, but it's just at least in Quebec, where I was, at least in Montreal, they have like I'd like just in the U.S. like sex shops were all like really like hidden and stuff, but it depends on where you are. In Canada, I'd walk in, it's a very welcoming, inviting place. And
the sex shop.
Yeah. It's just a different, it's just a difference in culture. And I'm not even going to say it's a francophone aspect of Quebec or Montreal, because like from how I understand places in Toronto and Vancouver, it's similar to that.
So you mentioned the television network that it was on. You said was a channel called City. You told me that off the air?
No, that wasn't it. I forget exactly what it was.
Too long ago. You don't remember.
Yeah, it was too long ago, but that I know what you're at, because you asked me a commercial vet. It says it's city-owned.
Oh, okay. Well, then
no, it's not like public access.
It's not public access?
Wait,
because you could put your own porn on public access. You could if you wanted to.
Do they also allow curse words and swearing?
Yes,
because the station
after a certain time of night.
The station I worked at, I had some stuff I wanted to put on, like activism related stuff, and they said, is there any cursing? And I even sent in a thing, like a short film I made, and they're like, okay, you're gonna have to rework the language, please. Ooh. And I'm
they
like,
actually
okay.
Screened it?
No, I'm still in the process of getting it aired, but they said just remove, because someone used a GD.
How did they know?
Because they watched it.
They did screen it. That's what I meant.
Oh, I thought you meant screen it. No, they did screen it. Yeah, they just do it just to be careful.
Because a lot of, like here in Keene, New Hampshire, the public access channel does not screen content. They accept the producer's word. So they will ask you to sign a form saying that, there's not mature content in this. And if they get a complaint, they will then screen after the fact.
Yeah, but
because it's too burdensome to be able to spend time actually watching the programs that are submitted to the channel. They don't have time. They don't have time to do that.
If they could hire me, I'd have fun just watching.
Well, anyway.
But wait, I don't want to go on. But yes. You said mature content, but they're still able to show pornography.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever done it. I don't think anyone in Keene has ever done it. But it's the public access channels in the United States are supposed to show everything that they're submitted that the person owns the copyright to. So you can't take a Hollywood movie and put it on there because you don't have the copyright to it. But if you made your own porn tape, then you would own the copyright to that. Even though I don't believe in intellectual property, we're talking about that idea.
We're talking about
the public access television channels believe in intellectual property. So as long as you've got the permission to air that product, they have to put it on the air. Now, most of the public access stations do have restrictions on indecent content, meaning that it's only allowed after, in a lot of cases, 10 p.m. at night. So 10 Eastern or whatever, 10 p.m. is wherever you are. And then I think it goes till 6 a.m. usually. So they would put anything with adult language, anything with a certain level of violence, and anything with sexual situations or nudity in that 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. slot.
Well, I'm going to have to make some phone calls after this. Thank you for this important revelation, Ian. I'm going to make some phone calls after the show.
Yeah, you're going to put together some porn, some homemade porn?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're talking about the topless protests here in New Hampshire that court trial number 2 happened today. They were found guilty after being found not guilty in a previous trial a year ago. But now it's guilty because somebody in the prosecutor's office over in the city of Laconia dug up a statute that they claim allows the city to prohibit female toplessness. And ultimately, this is going to go to the New Hampshire State Supreme Court. The ladies in question and their attorney, Dan Hines, who's a state representative and a liberty-oriented guy. I believe he actually moved here as part of the Free State Project many years ago. So you got a liberty-oriented attorney who's on this case, and he's done a great job with it so far. You expect to lose these things at the district court level, and it actually allows them now to challenge this judge's ruling and possibly get a better ruling out of the Supreme Court. Or it could be a bad one, and that would set precedent. 855-450 free.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-940-9829. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-940-9829. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-940-9829. That's 1-800-940-9829.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in here toll free and take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
We do have Skype, by the way. You can Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. You will need to send a contact request first, and then once you do that, it's easy to connect with us on Skype from that point forward. We've been talking about the Free the Nipple protesters here in New Hampshire. It's an international movement. We didn't really talk about Free the Nipple as a concept. We've just been discussing kind of the objections to female toplessness and what happened with the trial. But the Free the Nipple is like an international movie. There was, or not a movie, but there was a movie apparently at one point. It's a movement, and it's happened in a lot of places where ladies will go to the beach or go somewhere else in public and be topless. And the idea is to just kind of not throw it in somebody's face necessarily, but to just be there, do your normal thing. Just, you're out at the beach, you get, your family with you or whatever, you're laying down on the blanket, you're out in the waves, you're just doing your beach day. It's just that as a woman, you're topless. That's the only thing that's different. And a little bit of history, of course, is important to remember. It was probably like 100 years ago in the United States, where you had cops on the beach measuring people's clothing, because it wasn't legal to have anything besides a one-piece bathing suit that went down to your ankles at one point.
There's a family photo of my grandfather right after World War II. We're all at the beach somewhere in New Jersey, and all the women are wearing the one-piece suit, and the men, my granddad was in a suit and tie and a jacket.
On the beach.
Yeah, on the beach, yeah. Nice dress shoes and everything. They did have a great fashion sense back then.
But, I mean, come on. On the beach? You get everything all sandy?
Oh, yeah. It's funny to watch, compared to today.
It's crazy. And so things do change over time. And I know there are people who hate that. There are people who hate change. And those are the kind of people that are against female toplessness, especially the prudes who somehow believe that there's some kind of difference between male toplessness and female toplessness. Or that female toplessness is somehow sexual. And I'm sorry, if you believe that female toplessness is inherently sexual, then I can show you some females that I believe you will not find sexual. But further, just because there's an attractive woman who's topless, that also doesn't necessarily mean that it's sexual. If it's sexual to you, that's all in your head. By default, it's just skin. It's just your mammaries. It's just the areola. That's all. They have functions in the body. They're not even genitalia by definition, because they're not used for reproducing. So, again, it all has to do with the culture that we're in. And a lot of that is based out of Puritanism. And you go over to Canada, like you were talking about, or Europe even, where it's not I don't know how uncommon it is, but
they have nude beaches in Spain and such.
Yeah, and I've seen video of a fully naked woman walking, and I forget which European city it was, but in some European city, just walking around, and people were taking pictures of her, because I guess it's probably not something that happens on a daily basis, but over there, nobody was aghast. Nobody was, screaming and hiding their children's eyes or anything like that. Everything seemed to be fine.
You mentioned, unless we have a caller, you mentioned that it's like prudishness or Puritanism. My cousin told me he had a philosophy teacher, because that's mandatory at his school in Canada, who said that secretly every man is secretly attracted to his mother. And so the reason why men are obsessed with breasts is because they remember when they were breastfed by their mother. So, these people who want to...
That's a strange theory.
He called, maybe it's Freudian, but he called his professor crazy. But that's one thing, and it's interesting too. And my cousin should have told me I was too young, but that stuck with me. And every time someone gets all weird about sex, I say, "Yeah, hey, do you have mother issues?"
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So, unfortunately, and I'm so sorry that I did not get video of the original hearing. What happened was back in October when this hearing happened, where there was all the testimony, and it was just apparently just so ridiculous. Melanie actually told us about some of it, and I'll see if I can recap here in a little bit. But I wasn't able to. Well, I was able to go, but I chose not to, because I thought, it's just a hearing on a motion. Because this was a motion to dismiss the case, and I thought, it's just a hearing on a motion. I've been to these before. It's usually one attorney gets up, makes his arguments on the motion. The other attorney gets up, makes their arguments. I'm like, I don't want to drive 2 hours, just to watch what I thought was going to be a 10-minute hearing. Well, turns out that was the 2-hour-long, full-on, evidentiary hearing where they ended up calling all the witnesses. They were going to call it the full trial at the motion hearing. So I had no idea that was going to happen. The attorney didn't know that was going to happen, but that's what happened.
It sounds like a shenanigan or something.
Yeah, and so we got no video of that. But the original trial is still funny and worth watching. And I think one of the most important points that was made by Attorney Dan Hines during this trial, and also by the witnesses that he called, was, how is it that the police officer who is tasked with enforcing this law, or this statute, or ordinance, I guess in this case, how can he tell that this is a woman? How, besides an inspection of genitalia, would he be able to tell? And it would not be legal for a cop to go up to anyone on the beach and say, you need to pull your pants down because I suspect you are a woman and I want to ticket you for being topless, but I need to make sure you're a woman because you could be an attractive-looking man who actually has a penis in his drawers there, and I need to see for sure because if you're a man, I can't charge you with this, which would be ridiculous if that were to actually happen. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Let's talk to Mark in Nevada, listening to K-Talks. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
What's on your mind, dude? Go ahead.
I was talking to your screener. When I was stationed in Germany, my wife and I went to I guess you could say a private resort just over the hill in Germany, and I coaxed her to take her top off because there were all kinds of women with their tops off out there in the sunshine. And I took a picture, but about 10 minutes later, there were two beautiful women that were sitting, laid out their towels 10, 15 feet away from us, and they took their tops off, and it was a good show that day.
And the fabric of society had been destroyed. You pervert.
German women, of course, I didn't stare. But, a picture of them, too, would have been nice. I mean, 10, 15 feet away from them. And my wife was topless, and I took a picture, and I don't have that anymore, but she was hard to coax, but I got her to do it.
She did it, all right.
That was the kind of resort, or not a resort, but a environment that it was.
But, Mark, what about the children?
There were no children there.
Oh, it was an adults-only beach? Or was it just a coincidence?
Only, yeah, you had to, check in. And another thing, you were talking about the jail thing. I was checking out one night in Santa Ana and getting out of the orange clothes and putting on my street clothes. And there was a girl around the corner who I thought was a girl. And I talked to the jailer, go ahead and put your clothes on. I go, but there's a girl over there. And he shook his head. No, that's not a girl. It has male genitalia.
Okay.
But, he or it looked hot, but you would have never known.
Not until it was too late.
Well, I just walked out the door and going, my God, really?
Thanks for the stories tonight, Mark. I appreciate hearing from you, man.
All right, take care, guys.
Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So it's going to be an interesting appeal to the Supreme Court in this case. We're going to continue to follow it here, not just on Free Talk Live, but over at freekeen.com. Let's go to your calls where you can call in about anything you want. Dawn is on the line in Tucson, Arizona, listening over at freetalklive.com. Hello, Dawn.
Hey, how you doing?
What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, I was looking online and I just found all these fucking niggers.
Oh, you can't say those things on the radio. I guess no one ever told him that we were a radio show. So if you say those things, your call's not going to make it on the air. Sorry about that. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. As we continue, you, of course, can take control of the airwaves. We've been talking about the Free the Nipple thing, but in other news, Vincent will be telling us about some possible loosening of restrictions on guns and silencers.
All the fun stuff.
You do have that story coming up here, and then, of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome, or you can call in about anything you want. 855-450-FREE. Plus, Twitter planning to crack down even further on what they call hate and abuse on their site. We'll get your thoughts on that. Plus, if you want to talk toplessness, we can do that still, too. It's Free Talk Live. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL.
A funny thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Modern advertisers have been trained to look for trackability in their advertising, and web search ads are great for that. They also help you get the consumer that's looking for products like yours in the moment. But they're expensive, and they do nothing to convince people to try your product segment in the first place. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. If you can use national exposure, Free Talk Live's on more than 150 stations, and we can help advertisers with little budgets and big ones. Send me an email, mark@freetalklive.com. It's mark@freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, February 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.69 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,042. Antiwar.com reports playing up the idea that we live in troubled times. President Trump on Monday vowed to make a historic financial investment in the U.S. military, saying it would prove America's commitment to the defense of freedom worldwide. Though Trump offered no details as to what this would do to his budgets, it appears to mark a break from previous comments in which he heavily implied that increased spending on warships and planes would be paid for by savings in getting cost of weapons programs under control. Those suggestions have been widely doubted despite the massive cost of some of those weapons programs, and indeed the sheer scale of the expansion of the military envisioned is likely to be budget-breaking irrespective of what savings might be coaxed out of things like the F-35 program. Trump sought to defend this shift by arguing that the global terror situation is far worse than anyone realizes, and claiming that the global media has refused to cover large numbers of terror attacks. The White House is supposedly going to provide a list in the future, though Trump declined to offer a single example, accusing the media of having their reasons to keep terrorism a secret. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports a federal appeals court in San Francisco will hear oral arguments on Tuesday about whether to reinstate President Donald Trump's embattled order to temporarily close U.S. borders to refugees and some immigrants. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals announced the hearing on Monday as Trump's administration filed legal briefs there. The federal court will hear oral arguments in the case by phone on Tuesday beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern. Each side will get 30 minutes to argue their position. The announcement came one day after the appellate court denied a request by the DOJ to immediately reinstate the executive order, which temporarily bans U.S. entry for all refugees, as well as immigrants from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. The legal moves in San Francisco follow a Seattle judge's ruling on Friday that issued a nationwide injunction against the president's travel ban. Trump's administration argues that the states of Washington and Minnesota have overstepped their legal authority by bringing the case, and that the president does have full authority to guard national security. Opponents in the battle claim the travel ban would cause irreparable harm on multiple fronts. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports North Carolina is close to losing NCAA championship events for 6 years at a cost of more than $250 million because of a law that restricts bathroom access for transgender individuals, according to a local sports official. The governing body for the U.S. Collegiate Athletics is reviewing bids to host events through spring 2022, including 133 bids from North Carolina cities and universities, according to Scott Dupree, executive director of the Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance. The law, known as House Bill 2, which bars transgender individuals from using government-run restrooms that match their gender identity and limits local non-discrimination protections. Dupree said, "Our contacts at the NCAA tell us that due to their stance on HB 2, all North Carolina bids will be pulled from the review process and removed from consideration," adding he was sharing the information on behalf of the North Carolina Sports Association. When asked for comment, the NCAA said it expects to announce its site selection for upcoming seasons in April. In September, the NCAA moved championship events, including 2 rounds of the Division I men's basketball tournament, from the hoops-loving state for the current academic year in protest at the measure. Adopted last March by North Carolina's Republican-controlled legislature, the law prompted legal challenges, boycotts by corporations and entertainers, and the relocation of the NBA's 2017 All-Star Game. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
As of today, the average cost of a pack of cigarettes has gone up to 2 hand jobs and a stick of beef jerky. For more, we go now to Onion News Network prison economics expert Hal Rogan.
The prison economy runs on cigarettes. They're involved in every economic transaction at some stage, from contract killings to naked woman picture acquisition.
Right.
That's why we've got shampoo at 6 batteries. We've got tattoos at 50 commissary stamps.
Now, for what it's really like out there in the market, let's check in with major cigarette trader Big Dap Ramirez. Big Dap, nice to see you again.
Thanks, Rick. Good to see you. What's happening, Hal?
How's it going, Big Dap?
Now, it's obviously a boom time for cigarettes right now.
I am getting a lot of hand
But with
jobs.
prices this high, analysis shows you're going to be seeing a drop-off in real sales soon as consumers turn to smoking grass fajos.
Look, we've been through this before. The market teaches us not to panic. But if I learn anything in this game, it's that a wife or girlfriend will pass off a few decks in the boneyard. Supply will normalize, and we'll see cigarettes returning to a single hand job or less.
Big Dap, best of luck to you. We'll keep checking in on the story with Hal throughout the day.
Thanks, Rick.
Moving on to some happier news. In Atlanta today, 2 snitches were beaten to death.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. Of course, you can take control of these airwaves here. Dial on in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
We do have Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. Now, you don't have to talk about toplessness. We did spend the bulk of the first hour discussing the Free the Nipple case, which the ladies were, for those who are just tuning in, the ladies were found guilty today after some of them were found not guilty a year ago by the very same judge. If you want to learn more about that and what's going on, you can go to freekeen.com, or if you're just tuning in, you can always grab our archive later on tonight over at freetalklive.com and listen to the first hour of the show. But we're going to continue on. Got other stuff of interest to discuss tonight, including, Vincent, you've got a story about the ATF and maybe some good news coming from the federal government.
I never thought in my life I'd have to say that I am glad to see a press release, or to see a release by the ATF.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I haven't seen any of this yet, so I'm totally new. I don't know what it is exactly you're going to be telling us. So I'll be coming into it like all of our listeners are here, or many of our listeners. Maybe some of them already heard the news. But we'll get into that here in moments. First, to your calls and thoughts. We go to Greg in New York. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Vincent.
Hey, I was having a conversation with a bunch of people, some of whom were libertarians, and I came up with basically this bunch of policy changes that I think improves freedom, and I kind of wanted to run it by you guys and see which ones you agree with which ones you don't, and why.
Okay, you're saying policy changes you've come up with that you believe improve freedom.
Yes. So
Okay.
Policy, but I just want to say at the outset, the policy changes to what we have now, not, libertarian utopia. Just what we have now, and you change it. So the first thing I think you'd agree with is abolish minimum wage, because then people can have unpaid internships and learn on the job, especially if they've had a bad education. That helps them to move up on the ladder.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you on abolishing the minimum wage, and I'm actually a little surprised that you said that based on some of your previous calls.
Well, no. I mean, what I would do first of all is replace all the welfare with basic unconditional income, where, like I keep saying, I just want people to have a minimum safety net.
Oh, okay. So you're replacing the minimum wage with a universal basic income, which is basically a universal welfare check for everybody within a given landmass ruled by the government, correct?
Well, yeah, we're starting out with what we have now, which is being ruled by the government. But this will make people relatively more free than they are currently.
No, it won't, because it doesn't pass the sniff test of economics. If you give $1,000 to everybody in the country, then you've just inflated the money supply. You haven't done anything. If there's more...
No, of course you'd redistribute it. You would tax the robots, and you would tax all the self-driving cars, and you would
tax
all
the robots? Hold on.
He's talking about if everything was automated and like all these jobs lost because of automation. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, we're a little bit far out from we're not too close from there, but no, I get what you mean.
Hold on. You're going to tax robots? How does that work exactly?
I'll give you an example that shows exactly how it works. Uber is probably going to replace its drivers in about 5 years with self-driving cars. As soon as those self-driving cars are approved, they're going to roll it out throughout America. What happens is those drivers, as little as they get now, okay, they're going to be laid off. So what happens is now the drivers, they pay income tax or sales tax, depending on the jurisdiction. What's going to happen is that tax that goes to the government, the robots pay nothing. So not only is Uber saving by having self-driving cars, but also the government loses all that revenue because it's tax-free. The car doesn't pay anything, even though it produces value the same as a human being.
Right, but the human beings will be doing other tasks on which they will then be paying taxes. And further, if you charge taxes on what a robot does, it's ultimately the consumer, i.e., in this case, in your Uber example, the passenger, the person who is hailing the Uber. That's the person who will end up paying that tax. And then ultimately, all of that money will then be redistributed in the way that you are indicating, which is this universal basic income, or they'll just print out money to do that with. Either way, it's just a ridiculous scheme.
No. First of all, people are already paying tax. Uber drivers are already paying tax. You agree?
Well, some of them are. Maybe some of them aren't. But yeah, I mean, Uber definitely reports their income to the IRS.
And then the driver winds up having to pay income tax, right? So they're already paying income tax.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that when they get replaced by a self-driving car, the value that car provides to the consumer will not be taxed. So that revenue disappears to the government.
But they'll get the revenue from elsewhere, because that person will get a job doing something else. When somebody loses their job in an industry that is going out of favor, for instance, so like a farrier, for instance, somebody who was making horseshoes and fitting horseshoes, probably a much more popular job a few hundred years ago, not so much today. There still exist, but there aren't near as many of them. Blacksmiths, for instance, these jobs don't really exist anymore, but the people who had those skills either had to apply their skills in a different way in the marketplace or learn new skills and go do something else. They didn't just sit around for the rest of their lives collecting a welfare check, most of them. So as long as they're going and working somewhere else, then the government's revenue stream is still there. Not that I care about the government's revenue stream. I'm just answering your point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing. I'm saying...
No, we're not saying the same thing. You're saying you support a universal basic income. I'm saying that's a ridiculous economic scheme.
No, what I'm saying is that robot, the car, okay, it's delivering the same value as the person used to do, probably better. And then that car is generating X amount. So the same way that you would tax the person driving the car, okay, you could tax the car.
That's a terrible idea because it gives more revenue to the government. And ultimately, you're only going to be taxing. It's not the car that pays the income tax. It's the customer. Every corporate tax that is laid down on companies, whether they're mom and pop or whether they're Walmart, those taxes are all, 100% of them, paid by their customers in the form of increased prices.
What I think he's saying is there's not going to be really much of a change in what people pay, because
there might actually be, it might be less.
Yeah, because in his tax scheme, because instead of people paying extra for the service of a guy, the driver has to pay the income tax, you don't pay that. But what he's saying is you pay a tax which might be the same, might be less, might be more on the robot that's driving you. That's just how I interpret what
I understand what he's saying, and that is something that I couldn't possibly support, because you're just hurting the customer in that case. So you're talking about raising taxes, and you were saying this is supposed to be
it's the same thing for the customer.
It's the same thing as they're paying now. It's not an increase.
Well, actually, they may pay less with an automated driver because they don't have to pay the same overhead. Right now, with Uber and Lyft, it's 75% of the fare goes to the driver. So Uber, with automated cars, will be able to cut their rates down and be even more competitive with the taxi industry, who still will have human drivers behind the wheel in a lot of cases. And so they'll be able to be even more competitive, because right now, they have to pay those drivers something that they can subsist on, and then they'll be able to make it even. They might even be able to cut it in half what the price is.
So you're basically coming down, always protecting the supply. The consumer. You're protecting the demand side. The consumer gets lower prices all the time, which is good. But then when people are laid off, they're squeezed. They have a race to the bottom with, either overseas workers or machines. And then eventually you're saying that, those consumers need to get money to spend in the first place. So they need to have a job, and they need to learn and re-educate themselves, which is why I'm saying, balance the things out. You have the person losing their job.
See, that's the thing. Economic central planning, economic central control never works. You can try all you want to try to balance it out, level the playing field. And, well, that's what it would. We'll have to talk to you another night about some of your other proposals. Thanks for the call, Greg. Feel free to call back anytime. But if it's not going to be centrally planned, then you're not talking about a government solution. If it's going to be something that the market comes up with, if the market's going to set prices, if the market's going to set rates, then that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. But when it's some central group of bureaucrats deciding, well, we need to tax this industry over here and then move that money over here into the universal giveaway program where everybody's going to get a check from the government, as though that's going to somehow make things better for people's lives. It's not going to do anything of the sort. It's just going to create the illusion that the government is doing something for you, when all they're really doing is just increasing the money supply. And of course, an increased money supply, more dollars in circulation, chasing the same amount of goods, means the price of those goods goes up. So what good does it do if you get a check from the government every month if the price of everything goes up concomitant to the amount of you're receiving?
Yeah, it just gets you hooked on the government.
Correct. It makes you think they're doing something for you.
And you continue voting for whoever promises you those goods.
That's right. Well, that's socialism for you, right?
Go ahead.
That's socialism.
Well, I think the problem, and what he brings up, the automation and people losing their jobs to machines is...
Actually, you know what? It's Free Talk Live. We're in the middle of the commercials, so something has gone wrong with the network here, and we don't actually have... So right now,
generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to portablesolarllc.com to learn why Solark is energy insurance for your family.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better, no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever's on your mind. Here with you tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
We've got Skype. Our Skype username, if you want to join us there, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Whether it's toplessness, as we were talking about the Free the Nipple going on here in New Hampshire, the trial today. Ladies found guilty. They're planning to appeal to the New Hampshire Supreme Court. We'll continue to update you on that case as it develops. If you want to see the full story, go to freekeene.com. It is there at the top of the page as we speak. And then we just had Greg on the line talking about economic fantasy land, where you can just print money out and make everything better, or tax people to death.
His point was how to replace lost tax revenue due to automation. If I interpret it correctly.
Well, it was some long, convoluted point about what he believed would make people more free. And
he started out that way. I don't know how that tied into what he was talking about.
Well, he believes that if you get a universal basic income from the government in the form of a check every single month, that will make you more free.
It makes you dependent on the government.
Well, yes, that's certainly our view of it. But his view of that is, well, if you get all this money in from the government, then you're free from what? See, the freedom that the people who support wealth redistribution are talking about isn't the freedom that we're talking about. When we talk about freedom, we talk about the freedom to do as we please, as long as we don't harm anybody else in the process. But these folks want freedom from want, meaning that all my needs are taken care of. I have a home in which to live. I have food from which I can eat. I have all of the things that I need for life, and I don't have to do anything at all. That's their idea of freedom.
It's like, you ever read The Time Machine by H.G. Wells?
I don't think so.
All right, spoiler alert, there's this group of people. They live in the ideal world in the future called the Eloi, and all their needs are met. They don't have to read, write. They can barely speak English, and then it turns out that all their needs are met by these creatures called Morlocks, which in exchange for them giving everything they want, clothes, food, fun, they're eaten in exchange. And that's how I always after I read that that's how I always interpreted via like a total big welfare state like that.
So they're eaten, you said, in exchange?
I believe they use them for sustenance. Yeah. So these
so
weird.
You live like you get everything you want for a while, but then they could pluck you and use you.
They're like underground monsters. Yeah.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. We've got Nick on the line in Madison, Wisconsin, listening to 1510 News Talk 1510 AM. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Welcome, sir.
Great. Yeah, I just wanted to bring up something. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun on something you were going to talk about, but before the hour break, you mentioned how there were going to be, looks like they're going to be reducing restrictions on firearms and silencers. And I don't know exactly which law you're talking about. I just wanted to bring up, just for clarity's sake, there's no such thing as a silencer. There isn't. I mean, people actually use them, call them suppressors, because they lower the decibel levels from 160 to about 140.
That's all?
Yes, that's it.
Wow.
That's all it does. And I mean, it's like, and I love James Bond movies. I've seen a lot of silencers in use in the movies.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works in real life. So, and I think a lot of people they tailor their ideas to these laws based on what they see in the movies. Even though that's not reality.
It's just fantasy.
Yeah. Part of and I'm sorry for using the wrong term. It was actually in the back of my mind. I thought, should I call it suppressor? But the article called it silencer. And I'm like, I don't want to confuse anyone.
And a lot of articles do. And I'm not blaming you guys.
No, but thank you for calling in.
No, it's important. It's important to get your words straight. It's important to, whatever it is you're saying, make sure that it's clear. And it's like the old, people don't understand the difference between a clip and a magazine, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And absolutely. You just want to make sure that when you get in the firearm talk, you're on the right page, basically. So.
Hey, dude, thanks for sharing that tonight. Anything else on your mind, Nick?
Topless.
How about toplessness? You want to comment on that? Were you listening to that conversation?
I guess. I mean, I really don't care, but here's something that I think, and I consider myself a conservative, but I'm not a Trump supporter. Mm-hmm. But I think one of the biggest reasons that Trump got elected, I mean, they were both bad candidates, I thought, but one of the biggest reasons that he got elected is that so many things that people just all of a sudden thought were just common sense for so long, all of a sudden you were evil for thinking it. It seemed like these past couple of years, and a lot of people said, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Like when I remember the Memories Pizza, when they didn't even refuse gay service at all. They just said they would be uncomfortable serving a gay wedding, and all of a sudden they were sued for $300,000. I mean, that's bullying. And I think that if we
people should be free to refuse service to whoever it is they want to refuse service to.
Ian, you're not a real libertarian. Gary Johnson said you should.
Gary Johnson's not a real libertarian.
No, I'm joking.
Hey, Nick, thanks, dude, for the call tonight, man, and glad you're tuned into one of our newest affiliates up there. So welcome aboard.
Cool, guys. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Bailey is also in Wisconsin. Bailey, where in Wisconsin are you tonight?
That's my personal business, but I have a question,
Okey-doke.
actually.
Go right ahead.
So really, okay, thank you. I was looking online about Donald Trump, and I'm listening about this whole new thing that's going around about Donald Trump's legalizing ban on Muslims throughout the United States of America. And I am specifically remembering a part that I saw online about that it was unruled a couple days ago. Have you heard about that?
Okay, yeah. You're referring to the ban that Donald Trump put in place via executive order. It's been, a week and a half, I think, since that originally happened. It was the Friday after he had been inaugurated. And the courts have, at this point, overturned that ban. It is still, I'm sure it's going to be appealed by the Department of Justice to the Supreme Court, but it was the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Last I heard, unless there's been an update today, and I haven't seen a headline about it, but last I heard, which was a couple days ago, over the weekend, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals did overturn his travel ban, and that was the current status. Now, I'd heard that the Ninth Court was going to possibly rule with the full court because the weekend version only had like a few of the justices on it. So there may be more news coming up about that soon. But yeah, as of right now, that ban is not supposed to be being enforced.
Right, and another thing, I mean, I've been currently listening about like other radio stations that have been talking about it, and one of them have been talking also about dolphin slaughtering. And I know it doesn't have really much to do with anything, but I'm just saying in general, dolphin slaughtering is probably one of the worst things that we have in America.
That happens here?
Yes, it does.
Really? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I was actually reading about one that was more recent. It can actually be caused as a prison fine, but there's one in Florida, I believe, and a man went out to I think it was like Mexico, something like that, and had killed a dolphin and then brought it back to America and sold its all of its parts to other fishermen so they could do some kind of YouTube video off it. It was a YouTube video where
so you're not talking about that this isn't an industry. This is just a one-off kind of criminal act. I want to hear more though. So hang on, Bailey. We'll bring you back. 855-450 free. It's not like there's like a dolphin slaughtering industry.
Have you ever wanted a shortcut to getting the underground secrets to making money online and seriously grow your business? Whether it's a new business, a part-time income, or an existing business, you have this incredible limited offer to get a copy of this Amazon best-selling book on .com success for free. Uncover the success factors to make your business ignite. Go to secretsignite.com. That's secretsignite.com. Get your free copy now. Go to secretsignite.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com. A team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
Free Talk Live.
We're talking about the immigration situation here in this country. Now, Jeff, you have a 5-point plan. I'd like for you to go over the 5 points again.
Oh, sure. Hold on. I just got to turn to the page.
That's fine. And if you, he's got pages worth of.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Number one, close the borders. Put up a barrier on the border. And I mean a barrier.
Like a great wall?
Yeah, a great wall, barrier, stone wall.
Right.
I mean, something that's secure. And then you put a moat underneath.
Holy crap. Alligators in the moat?
All right, now, you've got more, though, right? We got a wall and a moat, and then what?
And you can put sensors on there. The motion detector.
Motion tracking machine guns, too? Spit out some 50 cals at them if it moves.
Ninjas. That's what we need. We just need ninjas mounted at 10-foot intervals along this wall. The border ninjas.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa. Hey.
Who do you think
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait
on account. Now.
Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
You
What am I being
now.
detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Yeah, it's Free Talk Live. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything that you like. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
Of course, we'll take your calls about anything. You can also call us on Skype. The Skype username is lrn.fm. So feel free to reach out to us there if you like. And if you like Free Talk Live and you want to help support the show, then one of the ways to do it is by shopping with us. You just go to shop.freetalklive.com and then enter the Amazon links that you'll find there. There's also links to other places like Walmart. But you go through those links. Those are our affiliate links. Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale when you do that. When you shop through the Amazon links, there's Amazon UK, US, Canada. You're still getting the same great Amazon experience that you're used to. It's just that Amazon doesn't keep 100% of their profits. They send some our direction. So, again, start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. We're talking with Bailey in Wisconsin. She won't say where, which is, that's fine. But Bailey, you are concerned about dolphin slaughtering. And I got to say, it sounds like a pretty crazy thing, right? Like to butcher an animal that has... I'm sorry, I was just going to say, to butcher an animal that has arguably the same level of intellect as we do, right? Like dolphins are very intelligent creatures. They even remember reading that they actually, if you look at the bone structure, they actually have a thumb. Dolphins developed that bone in their fins, and so like they are very, very advanced creatures, and we're just sort of learning now how to effectively communicate. And dolphins are able to learn words, sort of like Coco the monkey had done in the past as well. So anyway, Bailey, but you were talking about dolphin slaughtering. And you cited an example of somebody in Florida who was brought up on charges for this. It's not like this is some kind of industry in the United States, though.
No, it's not an industry in the United States, but the fact that the matter is that someone decided to murder a perfectly fine dolphin that had done nothing wrong and then decided to sell it in the United States, which is completely unacceptable, considering that is, from what I know, against the law.
I think most people would probably agree with you that they would find that to be unacceptable, that they would want to see this person punished.
Yeah, because unless this dolphin had actually done something to you, there was no reason to murder it. I mean, I understand if you were, like, if you had this dolphin was trying to attack you, or this dolphin had done something.
Which I've never heard. I mean, I've never heard a story about a dolphin attacking somebody. That just doesn't seem to be how they work. Now, we were looking into this dolphin slaughtering thing during the break, and we did find a story from National Geographic from 2016, late last year, where apparently there is an annual dolphin hunt, a dolphin slaughtering, where 20 dolphins were slaughtered in the Japanese town of Taiji, marking the beginning of the Cove's infamous annual dolphin hunt. You've seen this?
I have. Yes, I have.
Yeah, for our listeners who haven't seen it, they have attracted global condemnation since the year 2009 when it was featured in an Academy Award-winning documentary, The Cove, which depicted how fishermen round up some 1,000 dolphins every year to sell to marine parks or kill for their meat. The slaughter turns the Cove red with blood. And understandably, people are upset about this. But, there's different cultures out there.
There's another story that I heard where a man, this is probably one of the most disturbing ones that I've ever heard. A man decided to kill a dolphin, obviously, but he had used the dolphin's blood as paint.
As paint? Okay.
As paint.
Yeah, well, war paint comes from somewhere, I suppose. Hey, thank you, Bailey, for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Call us anytime.
And just before you go, 1 second. I just 1 minute.
No, we don't have a minute.
My
Thanks for
friend.
the call. We gotta go. Oh, I don't know if that was a troll. That might have been getting to the troll.
Yeah,
but,
well, that'd be a very long, elaborate, and it seems unsuccessful troll if it was.
I like a good. Well, first of all, it didn't really seem like a crank call because it brought up a real issue.
And this person seemed very passionate about the issue.
And whatever it was, you can tell us another time, Bailey. Thanks for the call. But this dolphin slaughtering, there are different cultures around the world.
Japan is a culture of peace.
I don't know about that, but dolphin slaughtering is obviously not going to be something that most people are okay with, and indeed, there have been a lot of people upset at this Japanese town, which is killing up to upwards of 1,000 dolphins per year, and so I imagine that's going to result in possible fewer travelers, fewer visitors to that town, but ultimately. There are different cultures out there. Some people still slaughter dogs in some parts of China. Most parts of China don't do that, but there was a Vice documentary about one particular part of China. I know you hate Vice, Vincent, but you did admit that their documentaries are usually pretty good.
I agree.
And this was a really good one. They sent one of their really hot reporters to this Chinese town, and she actually tried some dog. It was pretty interesting.
Well, here in the U.S., there's all these there's these cute creatures we kill. They have all these little, they're soft and fluffy, and they try a fly and they can't. And freaking McDonald's, they cook them. You could buy them everywhere. They're called chickens. And how barbaric is that? You kill a cute little animal called a chicken. I mean, how awful is that?
I don't know. Are they that cute?
I find them cute. I had pet chickens. Have you seen baby chicks? I mean, I had a pet chicken.
Yeah, they're cute. That's true.
I had a pet chicken,
true.
and it was cute.
Let's go to your calls and your thoughts. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Robert. He's in Philly. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Robert.
Hey, Ian. Sorry to bother you guys at work. How you doing tonight?
It's not a bother. We do a talk show.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be funny.
All right, man. Go ahead.
So I was debating with my friend a couple months ago about the EpiPen fiasco. I was debating that because of patents, that's why the price is so high. There's no competition to bring the prices down. His point was the companies would not be economically incentivized to do the research, like the millions of dollars of research it takes to bring the EpiPen to market.
Yeah, this is the old objection, and I'm glad you brought it up because it is a very common objection to why someone would argue that we need to have patents, otherwise no one will ever research anything. And it's interesting. Yeah. I recommend, as far as an expert on this topic, Dr. Mary Ruart. Now, we've had her on the show in the past, and she's talked about this with us. She has worked in the pharmaceutical field for many years, and she's a little older, so she actually remembers back when they didn't have patents on pharmaceuticals, and it was actually a more robust competition back then because companies still want to be first to market with new ideas, and the fact is being first to market rewards a company for a long time. So, for instance, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe it was Bayer who was the first company to manufacture and market aspirin. Bayer was the first company, and that's a household name brand. Bayer, people know that name. In the same way that Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency to market, it's the dominant cryptocurrency. So there is an incentive, even without the government's what you could call a monopoly on ideas. Even without that monopoly protection, there's still the incentive of that badge of honor that a company would get for curing cancer or getting whatever the product is to market sooner rather than later, and having people recognize them for that, and having the other companies essentially copy them.
Yeah. Even I belong to a libertarian group in Philadelphia, and we even debate whether patents should exist or not. That's even like, I guess if you want to call it infighting, but we'll debate patent laws.
Well, libertarians love to debate things amongst themselves. It's one of the things that they are best at. If you got more, you can hang. Otherwise, we're going to continue. More coming up here in moments. Appreciate the call, Robert. 855-450-FREE. And you're welcome to comment on patents. Would the world be better off if we got rid of them? I say yes, because we'd have unbridled competition. And competition brings prices down, quality up, innovation, etc. And the government stands in the way of all that. 855-450-FREE.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now. 1-800-956-9829. Call in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-956-9829. That's 1-800-956-9829. 1-800-956-9829.
Do you ever wonder what happened to America? They lost. We won. Want to see what Trump's up against? Revelation, the movie.info.
Because of what we did on this day, change has come to America.
The nation has been hijacked by international forces bent on global governance.
When I was a boy, it was okay to be proud of the flag, heritage, mom and apple pie. God was in school, morality had a future, and beef was for supper. Revelation, dawn of global government.
We're the solution. Americans. Ain't nothing more to it than that.
Starring Alex Jones, Charlie Daniels, and Special Ops General Jerry Boykin. Theatrical screenings on demand. DVDs now available. Want to shed some tears over the red, white, and blue? Americans need to see this film. Revelation, the movie.info. Let's fix it.
FoodForLiberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, take control of the airwaves, bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
Of course, you can Skype on in here at Skype, username LRN.FM. And you can take control by talking about anything you want to discuss. Now, if you are enjoying Free Talk Live, then please take a moment and join the AMP program. You get bonuses, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the regular podcast ads that our normal podcast does. You get some perks, so you can learn more about those perks by going to amp.freetalklive.com, AMP, as in advertise, market, and promote, amp.freetalklive.com. It's $5 that we take in and invest into Free Talk Live so we can get on more new radio stations around the country, bring new listeners on board, connect with more people on the internet, and spread the ideas of liberty and peace as far and as wide as we possibly can. Join the AMP program, get those perks, and help us out at ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. If you want to comment on patents as well, we can come back to that discussion. We got a lot of folks here who want to get on tonight, so let's go first to Don in Tampa. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Vincent.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Don, what's on your mind tonight?
So I noticed that a lot of people today have a bubble, I would call it, to strangers around them. And it takes a lot to pop this bubble to get people to be friendly around you.
Mm.
For example, today I was parked next to somebody, and they're getting air in their tires, and they're using the machine, and they had to pay money for it, and they didn't really. It wasn't working for them, so he started punching it.
Mm.
And
that always helps.
Yeah, and I went to get in my car, and he was staring at me like I had something on my face. And I was like, "Hey, are you doing okay?" And he was just being really rude to me.
Wow.
And I feel like you have to go like way out of your way to kind of pop the bubble, because I'm sure this guy's a nice guy. But for some reason, everyone just has this bad aura around them until you kind of like get some kind of personal relationship with them. And I offered to, I have a electronic air pump in my car, and I let him use that.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was super friendly after that.
Interesting. You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's an interesting observation, and I guess I'm curious about this. Have you noticed that it applies to pretty much everyone, or is it certain demographics? Like, is it more likely to be young people as opposed to older people, or is it just across the board? This is something you've experienced?
So I think it's more, I would say age, because I've noticed this has changed a lot since technology has gotten more popular. So older people who aren't too into technology, they seem a lot friendlier.
Vincent is the youngest person in the room here tonight. He is, 18, Vincent?
Yeah.
I mean, what are your impressions from being within the sort of millennial community, younger people? You're going to college right now. Do you see this? Is this something you're aware of?
Yeah, I do. Some people, like I try and talk to girls or something, for on their phone. It's just awkward.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, it's very awkward.
I mean, I've had that with my own girlfriend at times, where she'll just be on her phone. It's like, are you paying attention?
Well, that know the person, right? You're going to always be around them. But I will say, to people's
but it's still
credit,
annoying.
Once you're talking, most of them don't just automatically check for phone, or if they get a text, they wait until you're done talking. They don't just automatically check for phone.
You're saying most people don't? Most people are respectful and they'll actually pay attention to
during the discussion. I'm just saying, like this guy said, his the person he helps was super friendly afterwards. So people aren't that rude. But people talk about getting like a phone implanted in their head. So you could just imagine, I could be talking to you and you're like texting, everyone.
So here's my opinion on this. I think that you could be right about that, in that I think there have been some studies that have been done on technology and people's attention spans, and the fact that you always have this device. Well, not everybody's like this, but most adults in the United States now have, they've had this for a few years now. They've had a smartphone, and the smartphone is, the Rolodex to the extreme. It is all about, you, and it is completely customizable to your tastes. You put the software on it that you want to be on there. You spend time on the websites and doing the things with the software that you want to do, and it's this very sort of insulated experience. While on the other hand, the argument is, oh, well, social networking has expanded our horizons. Now we can connect with more people. But are you really connecting with those people, or is it all just an illusion? Or is there something to it? It's an interesting discussion, and I'm happy to hear what you think, Don.
Well, I think people start treating other people like phone apps. Like when you're on Facebook, you start scrolling and you get stuck into it. And when you find a video you like, it's rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start thinking in your mind, you're like, oh, let me buy some stuff off of Amazon and throw it in my cart. And you always want like some kind of satisfaction of finding something and doing something. And when you're talking to people, a lot of times a conversation might get kind of dry, and you want to get your phone out. And I think people just get what is it? Like when I don't want to say drugs, like maybe I'll use caffeine for an example.
Mm-hmm.
If you start having caffeine, you're like, oh, I like caffeine, it's good. And if you kind of tie in like using your phone and interacting with people, it's the same thing. If you can drink as much caffeine as you want all the time, and then when you're talking to another person, they just don't give you the dose that you're looking for.
That's
so
an interesting point.
And get your phone out.
And right, and there is what is it, serotonin or something like that is released. I think when people get that reward sensation that you're talking about.
Was it dopamine?
Maybe it's dopamine. I don't remember. But there is some sort of brain reward chemical that they have found is released, like when you see, ooh, more notices, or notifications. Who sent me a message? Someone likes my posts. So yeah, I mean, it is very, very insular in a lot of ways, and I think there's a problem with that. And I like the challenge that some people have taken upon themselves, to where if they're going out to like dinner with a group of people, that you have to stack your phones in the center of the table, and the first person who goes for their phone has to buy everybody else dinner. I think that's a fun kind of way to challenge everybody to see, can you keep your hands off of this device, because it is such a profound addiction. And I know what it's like. I'm guilty of spending way too much time on Facebook. I've been trying to restrict myself to only clicking the notices thing on Facebook, or the little globe up there, that I will only click on it when it has at least 5 on it. Because my problem is, there's one new one, I got to go see what that is. And it's so hard. It's so hard for me to do that.
Yeah, and the thing is you get mad when you look at a notification and it's like a favorite person shared a video or something, and you go, oh, that has nothing to do with me.
I don't know. I've never really had that one happen, but I've actually filtered out from the notices. One of the things that I hate the most about Facebook is that it shows you when people like your stuff. I hate that about Facebook, and I realize for some people that's why they use Facebook, because they want to feel like people are interested in them or care about them. And I just find that to be a waste. Like, I only really wanted to see comments or invitations to events or whatever. I don't care if people liked the post. And so there's actually a plugin out there for, I believe it's Chrome. Yeah. It's called Hike. It's called Hide Like Notifications. And so if you want to remove those from your little Facebook notifier thing, then that will help you. In my opinion, it helps me click it less, but it hasn't really done that much, because I'll still click on any 1 or 2 notices. And so it's tough, man. You got to use discipline, and it's really hard in that situation. Although I got to say this, Don, having lived in the Tampa Bay area myself for 26 years, when I moved to New Hampshire a decade ago, I noticed that people were nicer here. I don't know if it's true, because some people have told me they think people are nicer in Florida. Like, people from New Hampshire have told me they think that Florida people are nicer. So maybe it absolutely isn't the case. But I've noticed that in New Hampshire, people are more likely to acknowledge me in the streets, like smile, make eye contact. In a grocery store or a Walmart or something, I'm more likely to actually just have some sort of random conversation with someone about, the products that we're looking at. Just a friendly kind of conversation that almost never happened to me in Florida. So it's like little things like that. It may be also the place that you're in. So not just the demographics of the technology, but just sort of the attitude of the culture. as well.
Yeah, I think it could be the population, because I'm from Detroit, and a lot of people in Detroit are rude. And I was stationed in Germany for about 2 years, but I think the only reason that people are really nice to you is because you're interesting, because you're American. So
in some places, they might not be very nice to you because you're an American. But yeah, interesting call tonight. I appreciate you making it, and thanks for bringing that up. And anybody else, thanks for the call, Don.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Anybody else that wants to comment on that, you're welcome to do so, because this affects a lot of people, this addiction to technology. Hour 3 coming up.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
A funny thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Modern advertisers have been trained to look for trackability in their advertising, and web search ads are great for that. They also help you get the consumer that's looking for products like yours in the moment. But they're expensive, and they do nothing to convince people to try your product segment in the first place. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. If you can use national exposure, Free Talk Live's on more than 150 stations, and we can help advertisers with little budgets and big ones. Send me an email, mark@freetalklive.com. It's mark@freetalklive.com. There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, February 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.69 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,042. Antiwar.com reports playing up the idea that we live in troubled times. President Trump on Monday vowed to make a historic financial investment in the U.S. military, saying it would prove America's commitment to the defense of freedom worldwide. Though Trump offered no details as to what this would do to his budgets, it appears to mark a break from previous comments in which he heavily implied that increased spending on warships and planes would be paid for by savings in getting cost of weapons programs under control. Those suggestions have been widely doubted despite the massive cost of some of those weapons programs, and indeed the sheer scale of the expansion of the military envisioned is likely to be budget-breaking irrespective of what savings might be coaxed out of things like the F-35 program. Trump sought to defend this shift by arguing that the global terror situation is far worse than anyone realizes, and claiming that the global media has refused to cover large numbers of terror attacks. The White House is supposedly going to provide a list in the future, though Trump declined to offer a single example, accusing the media of having their reasons to keep terrorism a secret.
When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports a federal appeals court in San Francisco will hear oral arguments on Tuesday about whether to reinstate President Donald Trump's embattled order to temporarily close U.S. borders to refugees and some immigrants. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals announced the hearing on Monday as Trump's administration filed legal briefs there. The federal court will hear oral arguments in the case by phone on Tuesday beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern. Each side will get 30 minutes to argue their position. The announcement came one day after the appellate court denied a request by the DOJ to immediately reinstate the executive order, which temporarily bans U.S. entry for all refugees, as well as immigrants from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. The legal moves in San Francisco follow a Seattle judge's ruling on Friday that issued a nationwide injunction against the president's travel ban. Trump's administration argues that the states of Washington and Minnesota have overstepped their legal authority by bringing the case, and that the president does have full authority to guard national security. Opponents in the battle claim the travel ban would cause irreparable harm on multiple fronts. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports North Carolina is close to losing NCAA championship events for 6 years at a cost of more than $250 million because of a law that restricts bathroom access for transgender individuals, according to a local sports official. The governing body for the U.S. Collegiate Athletics is reviewing bids to host events through spring 2022, including 133 bids from North Carolina cities and universities, according to Scott Dupree, executive director of the Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance. The law, known as House Bill 2, which bars transgender individuals from using government-run restrooms that match their gender identity and limits local non-discrimination protections. Dupree said, "Our contacts at the NCAA tell us that due to their stance on HB 2, all North Carolina bids will be pulled from the review process and removed from consideration," adding he was sharing the information on behalf of the North Carolina Sports Association. When asked for comment, the NCAA said it expects to announce its site selection for upcoming seasons in April. In September, the NCAA moved championship events, including 2 rounds of the Division I men's basketball tournament, from the hoops-loving state for the current academic year in protest at the measure. Adopted last March by North Carolina's Republican-controlled legislature, the law prompted legal challenges, boycotts by corporations and entertainers, and the relocation of the NBA's 2017 All-Star Game. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
And in a surprise announcement this morning, U.S. Deputy Surgeon General Greg Paulson stated that, quote, "It's fine to smoke cigarettes if you only smoke while drinking." The Deputy Surgeon General has called a press conference to discuss the shocking findings, which began just moments ago. Let's go live to that now.
Was there a particular study this report was based on?
Look, that determination was made after considering that someone who only smokes when at bars or parties ends up smoking maybe 15 cigarettes a month, while regular smokers are smoking 150 to 200 cigarettes each week. So we feel that it's just obvious that as long as you don't actually buy the cigarettes and you only smoke them while consuming the alcohol, then the risks of getting lung cancer are basically mostly negligible. Just common sense.
This announcement comes on the heels of the Surgeon General's last announcement that drinking and driving is fine if you ate a lot that day or if it's a route you take all the time sober. Moving on, the Japanese Space Agency has announced plans to put a schoolgirl on the moon by 2015.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We are launching into the third hour of the program. Whether it's toplessness that you want to discuss, we spent the first hour talking about the topless situation in New Hampshire with protesters being found guilty after the same judge had found other topless ladies not guilty a year ago. So, interesting case. We got in deep with that in the first hour. You can go to freekeen.com, see the story there. Of course, you're still welcome to comment on that. We ended up talking about forced wealth redistribution and patents and technology making us all crazy.
And dolphins.
And yeah, dolphin slaughtering apparently. So we've been all over the place. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Ian with you tonight.
And Vincent.
And also Skype username, if you want to join us there, is LRN.FM. Let's go to the phones and to the fun where Neil is on the line in Arizona listening to K-Talks. Hey, Neil.
Hey, guys. I'd like to take you back to the subject of the dolphins just for a moment.
Sure.
And the movie called The Cove. It came out in 2009. I watched it on Netflix.
Yeah.
It was available on streaming. Now you have to order the DVD. It is the most disturbing movie I have ever seen. That group of actors, and it's more than just an annual thing. They do this almost daily.
Wow.
At certain times of the year. This group of activists and filmmakers went over there, and they went down there with almost SEAL-like precision at night because they got a lot of security watching that place. And they planted cameras hidden in things that look like boulders and cameras in the trees facing down the cove. And the footage that they caught and the heart-wrenching things that they do to these poor dolphins. If you haven't seen this movie, and anybody out there listening, I know you don't want to, but to know what's going on, I highly recommend you watch it. It's just sad.
That sounds horrifying. I don't like watching torture videos, man. I've seen some of the ISIS videos, and they're pretty bad. I suspect this would be on the same level.
Oh, yeah, it is very sad, but the whole thing about it is to let the world know what they are doing over there, and they are denying it. And, and you can't deny the video.
Right.
It's just, oh, man. I'll tell you, I was in tears watching this thing.
Wow. So, I mean, this is disturbing. The idea, just for listeners just tuning in here, you're talking about a movie that we mentioned earlier when our earlier caller was talking about the dolphin slaughtering. It's about an area in Japan, town of Taiji, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, where they apparently kill up to 1,000 dolphins per year to sell to marine parks, I guess live, or they kill for meat. So there's quite a bit of dolphin capturing and slaughtering going on. And you're saying you've seen the movie and it's super disturbing. And of course, the question is, what can you really do about it? Besides letting people know, I mean, I don't think it's something people should go to war over. You shouldn't go and bomb these folks because they are sick when it comes to how they treat dolphins. But maybe boycott any kind of travel going to that location, boycott any of the products that are, that those people are involved in, the businesses that they're involved in. Put as much social pressure on as you possibly can. But ultimately, if they don't change, you just kind of have to let them be, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, boycotting, not buying products from Japan.
Not all of Japan. I mean, it's not the whole country that's doing this. It's this one town,
well,
right?
The government is letting them do it. They're turning their heads and letting them get away with it.
Well, again,
on Free Talk Live, that's a good thing.
I
generally.
don't blame I don't blame individuals for what their government does. I mean, the U.S. government does a bunch of crazy stuff around the world, and it's not fair to blame anybody on the phones unless you work for the government, right? Like, I'm not going to blame you for it, Neil. I'm not going to, not buy your product because the government's terrible. I don't think that's fair. I'm sure there are people in Japan who disagree with this practice. It's just, if the government's not doing anything about it, if they're too well politically connected or whatever, then they're ensconced and they're untouchable. But that doesn't mean that everyone in Japan should be punished for it. That's kind of a collectivist idea, and it's pretty dangerous.
Well, no, I'm not saying everybody in Japan should be penalized for it, but it would put a big pressure on that to end real quick. It probably wouldn't have to last long.
No, it'll never get to that point. I mean, I get, you've got good intentions. I understand that, but the idea that people are going to have some sort of mass boycott of all Japanese products in response to this is pretty unrealistic. Even as horrifying as it is, it's very, very unrealistic. Given a number of products that we use every day, that likely come from Japan, getting people to give those things up just because they're concerned about what some people over there are doing. I mean, there's some very concerning things that some people in the United States do, but yet, you don't see mass boycotts of all U.S. products over that. So I would say the right solution is to just spread the word, which is what you're trying to do. But ultimately, support businesses that don't support these people would be what I would recommend. And I suspect there are plenty of people in Japan who are very upset about this behavior, and those people have businesses too. Hey, thanks, Neil, for your call tonight, man. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joey is on the line in Pittsburgh. You're on Free Talk Live, listening online. Go ahead, Joey. Joey in Pittsburgh. Joey going once. Joey in Pittsburgh going twice. All right, we're going to put him back on hold. Maybe there's a bad cell in Joey's case. Let's go to Nathan. He's on the line via Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. Go ahead, Nathan.
I think that last caller would have had more luck in the 80s. I hear people practically worshiped dolphins back then, but I wasn't, I wasn't alive then, I didn't see a lot of movies at that time, but that's what I've heard.
I don't know anything about people worshiping dolphins.
Maybe
in
the movie
80s.
Free Willy, was that from the 80s?
Yeah,
89.
Was it? Okay.
90, somewhere in that range.
It was. I've heard it was something in the culture.
That's about a whale, anyway.
Like
Free Willy.
Like people believed whales could heal you if you touch them, and this kind of stuff.
No,
but anyway,
so
Vincent.
But I was a kid in the
invited
80s,
me on.
so I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
Just a rumor that I heard one time. Vincent invited me back on when people are slightly less sloshed to discuss the border issue. So, thanks for that.
Oh,
Vincent.
boy. Here we go.
How
All
long?
right.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
haven't heard. Go ahead. I haven't heard you for a while, but anyway, say how's it going, man? All right, continue.
Well, by the way, you're referring to, when you're talking about people being sloshed, you're referring to Off the Air Live. Vincent is not drunk on Free Talk Live, nor has he been drunk on Free Talk Live. You're referring to Off the Air Live, which is a internet program where...
It's a fictional show where we play these characters that do all kinds of awful things, say all these awful things. But please, go ahead. Yeah,
Anyway.
hey, we miss you, man. Call in.
Go ahead, Nathan, with your thoughts.
Right. Well, and if you want to, catch my story about lizards that are like Donald Trump that I still didn't get to say, you just tune in at 10 Eastern on LRN for that.
That's LRN.FM.
Yeah, call in this week.
Saturday nights.
Yeah, call in this Saturday, man. But please go ahead.
All right. Yeah, go ahead with your point for Free Talk Live.
So you were talking about borders, and one of the things about this issue that I don't like is that people usually don't talk about the historical, trends and things that happened in the past about it. And I wanted to bring up the Battle of Adrianople that happened in, I think, 378 or something AD. This is a horrific battle where the Roman emperor was slaughtered and all of his generals and like 40,000 men. And it all started with a border issue or border dispute. I don't know what you'd call it. But basically there were these bad hombres, as I'm sure Trump would call them, the Huns. And they were basically slaughtering, everyone in their wake or everyone in their path. And after they slaughtered the Ostrogoths, the Visigoths decided they didn't want to stick around for that. And they moved west and begged to be let into Rome. And, the Danube River was the border. And so, what would you do if you were in his position, right? You have these hundreds of thousands of refugees, they're trying to escape bloodthirsty hordes that are moving in on them. What would you do in that situation?
We're at
Good
the break
question.
now,
Hang on. We'll talk about it here in moments. Our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. The age-old question about the refugees. We're going back into the past for this one. We'll continue. Your thoughts are welcome. If you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live with Ian and Vincent.
Back to the program in a minute, but first I've got a special free giveaway. I've got 100 free trials of the belly-flattening breakthrough new biotics here, and I've been authorized to give them away to the station's first 100 callers right now. So if you want to see what you'd look like with a flatter belly, call now. Don't even wait till I stop talking. Only one free trial per caller, though. Don't be greedy. Okay, here's the number. 1-800-984-5648. I'm guessing it works pretty fast because it says here that if your belly-flattening results are too dramatic, you're supposed to reduce use to every other day. And it looks like it's made from natural ingredients, too, scientifically formulated to cleanse pounds of toxic sludge from your body. Okay, this is it. If you want a flatter belly, be one of the first 100 callers right now to claim one of these free trials. 1-800-984-5648. If lines are busy, try again. 1-800-984-5648. Call now for details. 1-800-984-5648.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course you can bring up anything. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Save at Purse. You want to save big time on your purchases at Amazon? How about 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%, maybe even more than that? No joke. You can do it. I know. It sounds too good to be true. I get it. Most of the time when something sounds too good to be true, it is. This actually is true. I've used it 60-something times now in the last 2 years. I've saved more than $1,500 on the stuff I was going to buy anyway. I was going to get it anyway. Why wouldn't I want to save 20%? Why wouldn't you want to save 20% on the stuff you're buying at Amazon? Well, here's how you do it. There is a catch. The catch is you have to have Bitcoin or a few dozen other cryptocurrencies. If you've got Bitcoin, then you can save big time on your purchases at Amazon. Here's how you get started. You go to saveatpurse.com. That's saveatpurse.com. All right, we go back to your calls and thoughts. Ian and Vincent in the studio here tonight. Nathan is with us on the line in Texas via Skype. Now, Nathan, you'd given a story going back in time to, what was it, the Roman Empire?
That's right.
Yep.
To set the context, this is post-Christianity and pre-collapse. So right in that little few century window where, most everyone was Christian in Europe.
And so you said there was a group of refugees, 100,000 strong, you said, that was trying to get into Rome?
Actually, I think it's 200,000. If you want to, confirm, if anyone's interested, I'm getting this from the book The Byzantine Empire by Charles Oman. So if anyone wants to, read up on the details or if I've forgotten anything, you can go check that book out.
Okay.
It was 200,000 people, and you have to understand that these are actual refugees. There are bloodthirsty savages, on horseback, harrying them, and it's not like they wanted to do this. They were the actual refugees, Christian. Most of them spoke, I think, the same language. Again, I'm not sure about that part, but it's not like this is a completely foreign people that are asking to get into Rome at the time. I mean, they're Christian, speak the same language. They look like them. We have pretty much, there's not really much to object to. And I was asking, I guess, rhetorically, how could you refuse this? You have these 200,000.
May I ask, what was it that happened to them? I mean, were they let in, or were they, left out there to be slaughtered, or what happened?
So the Emperor Valens decided to let them in if they surrendered their weapons and gave hostages. The problem with that, though, is that as soon as they, crossed over, things started to go badly. And I think Wikipedia differed a little bit from the book I'm reading. I'm not sure whether it was Romans who were trying to buy slaves, or, whether it was the Visigoths who were just, robbing marketplaces or whatever. But basically, they kept their weapons by bribing the people the government sent to take them, and then basically conflict broke out. Somebody tried to rob someone else, and eventually the Visigoths decided, screw this whole Christianity civilization thing. Let's just start raiding and pillaging, because you got to remember they only converted to Christianity recently, within a few generations. So they were basically repeating the raiding and pillaging that other Gothic tribes had done 100 years before.
So your question was, if one of us were in charge of Rome, then what would we have done?
Right, and of course you have no way of knowing that your fate is ultimately going to be slaughtered on the battlefield by the people you're letting in. All you know is that there are these people, and they want to come in, and they're kind of like you. They speak your language, and they're being threatened. It's a legitimate threat. There's some kind of scary people called the Huns.
This is a frustrating question to answer because, if first of all, I wouldn't be in charge of Rome.
Yeah, you would disband Rome if you're emperor.
Yeah, I'm not an emperor type. I believe in freedom. And so if we're putting the me of today into that position, then, yeah, I would disband the government.
Emperor Ian Velast.
We'd have private property, but I suspect it wasn't that way at all back then. So, to ask that question is very hard. So, but looking at the issues that you bring up is an important thing to do. And this whole immigration/refugee crisis or situation or whatever you want to call it, it does bring up the question of private property. We had a lady call the show in the last, I think it was one of our weekend shows, Saturday night, and she brought up the age-old, claim that, well, the border's like your house, and if people are trying to get in your house, you have a right to keep them out. Well, okay, not a good analogy because the border isn't like your house. It's not private property. It's public property, unless, of course, the border happens to be on private property. But the border, the idea is this is a tragedy of the commons. Because we have this idea of the commons, it is something that is never going to be satisfying to some group of people. Either the people you want to get let in are being let in, or the people you want to be let in are being kept out, or, there's somebody is in charge and they're making decisions that somebody's going to disagree with. And so there's always this unending struggle over who will control the commons, what will the rules be.
At least until the state is ended and there is no more comment, or there's no more tragedy there's no more commons for there to be a tragedy.
Right. And, obviously if we could snap our fingers and end the state, that'd be wonderful, and then all the borders could be private, and then each individual property owner could decide for themselves who they want to allow in and or keep out. And ultimately, that's, in my opinion, the libertarian solution. Now, there are some people who call themselves libertarians who would say, well, while we have welfare, it's okay for the government to have a police state. I mean, it's just a ridiculous, in my opinion, position. But that's something that we can discuss. Going back in time and trying to put ourselves into the shoes of people who probably didn't, I don't know, I've never researched the Roman Empire, but probably didn't have the same understanding of private property that some of us do today, is just kind of a silly thought experiment. But Vincent, if you want to answer,
I have an article. Well, I think Ian, you put it good about the modern day comparison. I do have an article here. It's from Quartz. However, I don't know if it's...
I've seen some good stuff there.
By Annalise Morelli, so I'm just giving the source out. And, and it gave... This is similar to what you said, but I think what's interesting here is what made the things turn sour was a bunch of corrupt Roman officials. They would just mistreat and use the refugees to their own ends. And the one parallel I will draw is to some of these people, certain politicians. I'm not going to blame totally one party for it. And in Europe and in the U.S., some politicians, they want to bring in refugees in because they know that they're basically buying votes. They're importing votes for them.
Yeah, and in the example I cited, it does seem that there was mistreatment on, but it wasn't just one side who, caused things to go south. They refused to give up their weapons like they agreed to, but then the Romans were, like you say, I don't know if it was slavery or what did you say it was?
Here it said something about they fed them bad meat.
Well, there was some kind of mistreatment. The source I have doesn't go into detail.
They're taking advantage of, basically.
Thanks for the call tonight, Nathan. I appreciate it, man. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. You can join us, whether you want to talk about refugees or toplessness, immigration, anything goes here. Dolphins, yeah, people have been talking about dolphins tonight. 855-450-FREE. And also, we still got the ATF story to get to if we get a chance. That's coming up. Vincent's got that story, and you can share your thoughts with us on Free Talk Live.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Lifetime Graze 100% grass-fed beef has the health benefits you seek. When compared to conventional beef, it offers good fats while virtually eliminating the bad. That's the result of cattle who never eat grain, ever. Rich in antioxidants, including vitamin E, C, beta-carotene, and CLA. No artificial hormones, antibiotics, or other drugs. For all our fresh, non-cooked products with only 100% grass-fed beef, go to MidasResources.com. Use voucher code GCN to get 30% off your order. MidasResources.com or find us on Facebook.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free. Join us on the radio waves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
We've got Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. We go to your calls and thoughts coming up. If we get the chance, Vincent, you will fill us in on some proposals that may actually reduce regulations on guns and sound suppressors. Yes. So we can get into that coming up here. But first, we go to Ralph. He's in New Jersey. Hello.
Yes. How are you?
Oh, we're not interrupting you, are we?
I was talking to someone about the healthcare, but that's not the thing I want to talk about.
All right. What's up?
I want to talk about El Negro, Black history, and how we should put into context.
Now, hold on. I'm confused, Ralph. A lot of times when you call in, most of the time when you say El Negro, you're referring specifically to Barack Obama. Are you now referring to all? Are you now referring to all black people with that term?
Obama and.
You're still talking about Barack Obama. I'm just curious, how many years after Barack Obama has been in office will you continue to talk about him? I mean, what is there to say about Barack Obama? I saw some picture today that he's on a vacation. Who cares?
Again? He's on vacation too, and look like a piece of crap. It does look like a piece of crap.
He looks like a piece of crap? Is that what you just said?
Can I say my piece?
Yeah, go ahead.
If
you want to talk about Black History Month and Barack Obama. Go ahead.
And then I'm capable El Negro, El Ghetto Negro. If we're gonna put it in a proper context, Black history vis-a-vis Obama, it would be more, in my opinion, a symbolism rather than something of substance. What I mean by something of substance, right, is we need to look beyond symbolism and look at what did this animal accomplish, okay, number one.
Did you say what did he accomplish?
That's right.
He continued the Bush administration policies, a lot of them.
He's referred to as a lame duck president.
Let me finish.
Well,
let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
Yeah.
What did he accomplish? And where did he succeed in any endeavor or undertaking that he set out to do? That's what I call.
Well, he succeeded in getting elected to the office of presidency, so that's a pretty big success right there.
That's the symbolism. That is symbolism.
No, that's an accomplishment. He did accomplish releasing peaceful people from federal prison, like over 1,000 of them, toward the very end of his term, while he was a lame duck president.
It speaks to my point about symbolism. But I want to talk more about, the animal characteristics of the black. This will be this case right now in New York City with the jogger.
With the what? A jogger?
The jogger, right?
I don't know anything about it.
Howard Beach Queen.
Huh?
The name of this young lady is Karina Petrano. Karina Petrano. It's in all of the media, including the media in Europe.
Okay.
Primarily, that's right. So BBC, Daily Mail, this kind
So somebody got murdered. Okay, so I just Googled New York jogger.
Assaulted too. Sexually assaulted too.
Oh, I heard about this today.
Assaulted.
Oh, that's horrifying.
This was a Negro right from the outset and right from the get-go. I've spoken to someone in New York who is of Italian-American descent. And by the way, this family is of Italian-American descent. My heart goes out to them. I feel the anguish of the loss of their loved one, their daughter, in this particular case. I've spoken to someone who is no longer on the radio. He used to be on the radio between Friday and Saturday at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, okay? That's between Friday and Saturday. He called me Brother Man. I call him back by that name, Brother Man. Okay? He's a white guy now. I'm calling Brother Man. I told Frankie, if I can give his name, Frankie.
No, I don't care. I really look, Ralph. Okay. I'm sorry that this lady was murdered. That's horrifying, but I don't understand. There's murders committed by people of all colors all around the world. Why just focus on this one?
Why just focus on this one?
Yeah.
Because this animal is allowed to, be out on the lam for 6 months. For 6 months. I mean, they didn't, apprehend this animal early on. Why
because the government has failed, that has something to do. What does that have to do with the man's color of the color of his skin? It has nothing to do with it.
Oh,
thanks for the call, Ralph. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. So the government sucks at finding a murderer? Wow, surprise, the government sucks at everything it does. And you know what? There's people who've got different color skins that are working on the case. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It's a horrifying murder, and those things can be committed by all kinds of people.
Just a little fun fact. We were talking about Obama being elected and stuff, about being significant. Some would say, at least for the Democrat primary, and this is why I believe he was selected, because right after the bill, it was Hillary Clinton versus Barack Obama. Hillary Clinton, everyone knew her, and Obama was maybe, let's say, not obscure, but
what do you know? Hillary lost again.
He wasn't as known, but right after the Bilderberg meeting, right, she disappeared. Both disappeared during the Bilderberg meeting in Virginia, right, and then afterwards she just mysteriously dropped out of a race.
Well, and she was selected this time around too by rigging the Democratic primary.
Oh, exactly, yeah. But I'm just saying that
I get what you're saying. You're saying that it wasn't a real win because it was all orchestrated.
I do believe that he won,
which of course suggests that Trump is also orchestrated.
No, I'm talking about for the they tried to orchestrate the election, all the vote rigging and stuff. But I'm saying, my personal belief is, Obama was actually elected in terms of popular vote in 2008 because he was the change the country thought they needed, right? And even back then, I'm like, this is a good thing. I'm just saying that it was the primary was rigged. The Democrat primary was rigged back then.
But wait, why not just look? So if you believe the Bilderbergers are powerful,
yes, they are. All these people, the world shakers and movers, all meet at the Bilderberg meeting. It's all in secret.
I know about it. If you believe that that's true, then why not believe that they have manipulated the whole election? That the entire thing was, predetermined. There are people who believe that.
You're talking about 2008?
I'm talking about all of them. 2008, 2012, 2016.
Well, when they have their people in there, when they have her two people in there. John McCain was
but the
chosen
idea
to
is
throw
they
away
always
the race.
have their two people in there.
Well, except this time, except with Trump.
But
in
why
my
do you
opinion.
think that? What makes you think
because
that's
everything. They took the entire media, they took everything, and they all went out after him. They tried all kinds of stuff, all kinds of tricks. Vote.
Why would Trump, who is also himself a billionaire, be immune from these world power people who supposedly pull enough strings to where they can manipulate elections or primaries or whatever?
I'm not saying all billionaires or all rich people are part of the Bilderberg
I'm not
group.
saying you're saying
no,
that.
I know. I'm just saying that him was different compared to a billionaire like George
But maybe
Soros
that's just
or
what
money
they want you to
manipulators.
think.
That's totally
Maybe-
possible.
maybe
I'm
they-
not throwing that out. I'm just
Right.
saying from what he's been saying.
Maybe
and they
the-
said even if Trump lost, his populist message was like threw a wrench in a plan, because like literally at Davos or Davros, I forget how to pronounce it, they were in panic. They had to change their entire everything they were talking about just to do damage control for the globalist agenda.
But maybe Trump is just the character that they've chosen to get people to believe in government again. Like, he's rolling back these rules. He's changing things in Washington, D.C. Look, see, government works. All you have to do is just get the right man in charge. This is a myth that benefits them.
I understand your viewpoint saying that, but I don't think, at least I didn't perceive that the whole, beforehand it was no government versus government. Just that
it wasn't
that
no
they're
government
not like
versus
you don't. They don't say, oh no, more people are becoming volunteers. We have all this. This is a big problem.
No,
It wasn't about that.
Vincent,
Yes, that's what you're.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay. Say
Hardly anybody's a voluntarist, but there's a large amount.
Then
of,
why would they need to put someone to get people?
There's
to
a
have
large amount of distaste in the government.
But for not saying they're going to get rid of it. Very few people, aside from Free Talk Live.
I know that they're not saying they're going to get rid of it, but Trump seems to be different, and maybe that's just part of the plan. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE if you believe in the whole Bilderbergers control everything. And I don't know if I do. I'm just saying.
No,
it's Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Ely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-3494. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-960-3494. Call 1-800-960-3494. 1-800-960-3494.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. See website for details.
Need some extra cash today? Do you have bad credit or maxed out credit cards? If so, turn your radio up. 67cash.com is one of the nation's largest personal loan networks with over 50 different lenders. Now you can get a personal loan for up to $5,000 with any type of credit discreetly from your computer or smartphone and with no paperwork to send in. That's right, no paperwork whatsoever. Your cash will hit your bank account as soon as tomorrow, as our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history. Visit 67cash.com and you can have up to $5,000 in no time. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 67cash.com from your smartphone or computer to get the cash you need. Visit 67cash.com. Type www.67cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 67cash.com. 67cash.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, moments remain, enough time for you if you dial in right now. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight with you, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
Check out more Vincent over at Off the Air Live. They got to mention earlier in the show. It is the show that you do on the internet via lrn.fm, so it's uncensored. You do not have to. You walk the difficult line, Vincent, of doing a syndicated national radio show with me on Free Talk Live on Tuesdays. You're our Tuesday night co-host here. Where you can't say the F word and things like that, and you can't be drunk, and then on Saturday night you can say anything you want to say and frequently do, and it can be hard to walk that line because
I do get worried sometimes.
Right, if you're sitting behind the microphone, you're like, wait, which show am I on again? Right, like, well, okay, can I say this here? So anyway, check out more Vincent on Saturday nights on lrn.fm at 10 p.m. Eastern time for Off the Air Live, and it's also online at offtheairlive.com. You guys have a YouTube channel where archives go up. I don't know if you've managed to coerce Cody into actually posting the audio archives of the show, but
it's complicated.
No, it's not.
Well, no.
You mean persuading Cody to do something is complicated?
Why we're not posting the audio archives is complicated.
I don't see how complicated it could be.
Don't worry, it's a plan. It's all in my plan.
Okay, very good. Well, get her done. Offtheairlive.com. All right, let's go to your calls and thoughts. We've got Mark on the line in Nevada, listening to K-Talks. Hello, Mark.
Yes, second call. Hey, I love
you can't do that. I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't realize that you'd already called in once. We only have a one call per night. I appreciate your honesty about that. We have a rule. It's a simple rule. One call per night. So there's plenty of time. Thanks for the call.
Wait, was he the one that someone you couldn't get to, right?
No. He had been on before. He'd been on earlier tonight. We had a few calls from K-Talks tonight, and he was one of them. So yeah, the rule, we don't have a lot of rules on Free Talk Live. I'll just go over them briefly. One, you don't get to say F-bomb, S-bomb, certain words like that. You can't say that. We're going to drop you. We'll dump the call like we did with the caller earlier tonight.
Well, you have to or you'll get in trouble.
Yeah, our stations will get in trouble, and we don't want that to happen because then they'll be mad at us. So it's not because I don't support freedom of speech. I do. It's just we're doing this in the business world, and we have to do a show a certain way. So there's that, and then there's one call per night, which is not an unreasonable rule. It does make it so more people can have their opinions expressed, because if we kept taking multiple calls from the same callers, we already hear from people like Sarah and Ralph often enough. Can you imagine having Ralph call more than once per show? So it's not to say that you're a bad caller, Mike. Even a good caller is restricted to one call per night. But we're here 7 nights a week, so you can make 7 phone calls per week, and that should be more than sufficient to get your opinions out on the air. Let's go to Eric, who has not called tonight. Eric, you're on, and you're listening in Maine to WLOB out of Portland. Go ahead, Eric.
How you doing tonight, guys?
Welcome, sir.
Thanks. Just kind of turned your show on. I was just curious, you guys hear anything about the Ted Cruz, Bernie Sanders debate tonight?
Oh, that's tonight?
I didn't know anything about it.
I missed.
Really?
Again? I didn't know anything about it, but apparently Vincent.
So forward to that.
Yeah, CNN, Ted Cruz, Bernie Sanders is supposed to be all the rage there in the presidential primary. A lot of people were kind of looking forward to something, and I guess they're having it out, duking it out tonight. So.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, especially considering that it is post the election. Like, I wonder what it was that prompted this. Do you know?
Well, I think that some of the subject matter was going to be circling around the Obamacare, rolling that back, and that sort of thing, healthcare, and kind of the constitutional conservative being Mr. Cruz and Senator Cruz, and then the sort of as we call him over here, the crazy Bernie.
Yeah, I think I would find them both too detestable to actually be able to watch that. I mean, at least. Well. Yeah, I find them both to be detestable. What about you?
Really? Well, I mean, I think they're both pretty. They're both pretty convicted in their schools of thought. I think so. I don't think either one of them are really detestable. I guess it depends on which side of the fence you're riding on.
I'm on neither of their sides, because those people are people who want to control me. They're the people that want to tell you how to live your life. They want to tell you what you can and can't do with your life. And to me, they're the same.
I think one of them is more so that type than the other. But
really, which one?
My personal opinion. Oh, I think Bernie, being a socialist, that's obviously that's all about government control.
Don't you think Ted Cruz is a socialist too? Doesn't Ted Cruz support Social Security?
I'm not sure if he does. I think he probably has his thoughts on Social Security, but I don't think it's as nutty as crazy Bernie.
Does Ted Cruz support the VA?
I hope so.
Then he's a socialist.
Well, I mean, certainly, if you don't support your veterans and the people who give you the rights to have free talk live.
That's not where you get your rights, sir. You don't get your rights from men who go and follow the orders of politicians.
This is true. You get your rights from God Almighty.
There you go.
That's where you get your rights from.
Yeah, you get your now. Whether you believe in God or not, you get your rights. If you tend to believe in God, then you can say from God. An atheist might say they believe that they get their rights because they're a human being. But either way, rights are inherent because we're humans, and they're a good idea that we respect among one another because they're valuable and because they help us interact and they help us get along with one another.
Well, the principled libertarian response would be you have no rights. You have a negative right. You do not have a right to use force against anyone for anything. So you don't have a right to.
Now you're getting into rights there.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I believe we should probably pull out of half the countries that we're in. That certainly leans more towards the libertarian point of view.
And I would say we need to pull out of 100% of the countries that.
I'm also a strong constitutional believer in the Constitution.
So in that case, since you believe in the Constitution, you would support disbanding the Army, correct?
Disbanding the Army?
Right, because it's unconstitutional.
Why would you do that?
Well, because there's not supposed to be a standing army. I mean, it's in the Constitution that it's only supposed to be raised at the time when it's needed.
Oh, okay.
And that's why they keep doing the national. You've heard of the National Defense Authorization Acts. That's why they keep cranking those out every 2 years or whatever, because they have to keep reauthorizing the Army to stick around in violation of the Founding Fathers' intentions. Because the Founding Fathers knew that if you have a standing Army, well, guess what? Politicians are going to use those people for their purposes. The politicians are going to send those people, those young men and women, into foreign places, and they're going.
We also need to have something in place to defend our borders.
Well, you and I are going to disagree on that one too.
They talked about militias. Local counties would have militias. That wasn't a standing
army. You can
army.
defend your own borders on your own property with whatever method you want to. Gather together with your neighbors and do that. But if I want to let people onto my property, shouldn't I have that freedom in a free country?
Yeah, but shouldn't we be also defending our country?
Well, I mean, from what?
From what?
Yeah.
That's kind of a loaded question, don't you think?
Look, I mean, I believe in the right to. I believe in your right to defend yourself. So if you want to,
don't you believe in the right as a country to defend our borders?
Collectives don't have rights. Only individuals have rights.
No, we have right as a collective, as a country.
No, that's not true.
Well, that's Ian. In your school of thought, it is. If you read things like some of the old, like Prussian, like if you read Karl von Clausewitz's thing, yeah, as a nation state and realism, yeah, a country does. But that's a different school of thought as you are. That you
sure. I believe in individual rights. I don't think that you can grant something to a collective that you don't have yourself. So you don't have the right to put a gun to my head and take money from me, right?
No, certainly not.
Okay, well then you wouldn't have the ability to grant that to a collective. You wouldn't have, you and 10 other people getting together wouldn't be able to create a collective right to put a gun to my head and take my money, would you?
Then what do we have government for?
I don't know, man. It's something we've been saddled with for a long time, and I think it's about time that we end it.
Well, I mean, government was created by God. I mean, it's in Genesis 1. Read your Bible.
Well, there's other people who would say that Jesus is an anarchist.
He was not. He was anything but.
Well, you're going to have to make your point on that one. How is that?
How is that?
Yeah, how is he not an anarchist?
How is he not an anarchist?
Yeah.
He was preaching the law.
And which law was that?
The law of Genesis.
Okay, but that's different than the law of man, right? That's different than the law of man. Are you saying that
it's pretty basic?
Sure, but that's different than the law of man, isn't it?
No, it's not. How is it different than the law of man?
It's incredibly different. The man has all kinds of laws. Man has all kinds of laws that have nothing to do with murdering and stealing, and I wish we had more time to talk about it, but we're out of it for tonight. Call another night, Eric. We can talk about these things anytime. I appreciate your call tonight, man. Yes, sir.
I appreciate you having me.
Thanks so much. Brother. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. Online in the meantime, freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com, advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
The latest edition of The Justin Moore Show is next on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.fm. Get more at justinmooreshow.com.
Defending the free market and making the moral case for capitalism. The Justin Moore Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore Show, where we make sense of what's going on in this crazy, insane, out of control world. And just going along with that, I just read this story. I was looking through Drudge, and this is coming from the Morning Call. And here it is. It's a story from a casino out in Pennsylvania, and it says this. It's one that Mount Airy Casino apparently violated 18 times in one day. The Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board Wednesday fined Mount Airy $25,000 for an October 7th incident in which 3 bartenders served 27 drinks in 9 hours to a man who was playing a tabletop slot machine in its glass bar, including 18 drinks after the man was visibly drunk. The man, whom the casino did not identify, ended up falling off his bar stool and resisting arrest by state police. Okay, so you guys are probably wondering, okay, Justin, why the heck are you bringing this up? Who cares about some drunk guy in a casino? Well, you know, apparently there's the law in Pennsylvania where you're not allowed to serve people when they're visibly drunk and at a casino because you can take advantage of them. And actually, I think those same rules apply in Vegas. And I had my own incident a few years ago where I literally fell off a stool at the blackjack table, but they thought I was completely plastered, and I wasn't. I was actually, you know, they have the little backrests on the chairs. Well,